Well, what's up, everybody? It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Welcome in to On the Hunt. My goodness, we have a wonderful, wonderful guest tonight. Back by popular demand, we have Allen Thomas here in the studio tonight of Squatch Zone. You guys will remember about 2 weeks ago, we had Allen on the show, and I think we had like a 3-hour show that night. It was wild. And I had so much fun, and so I asked him to come back today. Originally, we did have Tyler Howell scheduled to be here tonight. Something came up where he could not be here today. So Alan came back on, and I knew that we would have a great show tonight. And we have so much to talk about. A lot has happened since the last time we talked to Alan, in the news, in life, and in the Bigfoot world. Okay, so we're going there tonight. And so I want to thank you all for being here. What a great weekend. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. I hope you're safe out there. This world has gotten crazy, y'all. It's gotten really crazy. We might talk about a little bit of this craziness in the world tonight with Alan as well. So if you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows and check out my archives, go to my website. That's the cryptidhuntress.com. You can find all of my shows there. I've got all my social media links there, and anything else you need to find out about the Cryptid Huntress, y'all go over to my website. And also I do have a Patreon if you guys would like to support the show and all my work. Thank you to all of my members. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And also I do have a shop called War Woman Goods. And so I want to thank you guys for all your support from every outlet, every direction. It really is amazing. I also want to give a huge birthday shout out to our friend Adolf, who's in the chat tonight. Happy birthday, Adolf. I'm glad you're here. And everybody tell Adolf happy birthday before the end of the night. He has been on the show, and you guys will remember Adolf from the documentary 10/11/02 about him and his two buddies who went camping out in California and had a really strange night. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Y'all go back and watch the show, the interview that we did, and watch 10/11/02 to find out more. So thank you for being here, Adolf. Not only has he had some possible ET experiences, but also Bigfoot and Dogman. Okay, and so hopefully Adolf will come back and hang out with us some more in the near future. I think Adolf and our buddy Alan have been out in the field together, as a matter of fact. Okay, well, speaking of Alan, let's get to our show tonight, shall we? Okay. Allen Thomas saw his first Bigfoot in 1987, and that encounter changed his life in the woods forever. He co-hosted Paranormal Central for over 10 years and was featured on Finding Bigfoot and Monsters and Mysteries. For a couple of years, he was on Art Bell's Dark Matter Network, and his show has broadcasted right before Art Bell's show. Allen started his YouTube channel, Squatch Zone, in 2012, where he interviewed hundreds of people who encountered Bigfoots, UFOs, alien abductions, Dogman, pterodactyls, and more. Allen recently celebrated his 47th wedding anniversary to his high school sweetheart, and he has six kids, 26 grandkids, and 2 great-grandkids. And he is a retired marketing director in the casino industry. And like I said last time, Bigfoot changed his life forever. I'm just realizing Bigfoot has changed my life forever as well. So please help me welcome to the show tonight our buddy, Mr. Allen Thomas. Hey, Allen.
Hey, how's it going? I want to show everybody I mic'd up my Bigfoot. Look, he's mic'd up. He's ready to share.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Bigfoot.
Yeah.
He's ready to go.
He's ready.
What's up, Alan? Thank you so much for being here. Gosh, I had so much fun talking with you a couple of weeks ago. So thanks for coming back.
Real quick on my bio thing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to it. I'm like, whoa. Even though I wrote it right a long time ago, but I wrote it and then I just added some things. And then I'm like 26 grandkids out of 6 kids. That sounds like a lot. And it really is. Some of those grandkids, I actually have more kids than 6. I have.
You left one out?
No, they're like, I don't know. I don't want to call, they're my kids, but I'm not the biological dad.
Gotcha.
And I had just like our paths were crossed for a little while and helped raise some of these kids. And now they're out and they're successful. And we count those kids as our grandkids. But if I was going to count like how many kids, it would be more like 12. You know what I mean? 12 kids, but only 3 are biological, and then 3 are brothers that we adopted in 1987, and then there's like a half a dozen more that we just took in, right? We just took them in, and so like when that explains 26 grandkids for all the people going 26. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I would clarify that.
The more the merrier, and success is relative. The more success, the more relatives, right?
Yeah, and
I love that.
Like that's for me. I wasn't raised in the greatest at the, everything wasn't great. But only I wanted to be different than how I was raised. And I realized like if you could become some kids' friends, there might be kids struggling where I struggle at the same, real hard struggle, and give them hope that there's a reason that, to get up in the morning and to keep trying, and don't let anybody tell you can't do anything, because you can do anything, right? And mostly not preach to them so much as become their friend and kind of show them how to do it every day. And it worked. It worked. Believe it or not, it worked on everyone 100%. So I'm proud of that. It was hard, but it's so cool to, you drive up to somebody's house that would have been in prison, but now they have a home and kids and a car. It feels really good that you might have had a little teeny bit to do with it. It really does.
That's amazing. I wish I could be a part of your family too. I bet you guys have fun. I mean, I got a big family too myself, but I know y'all have fun, and there's a lot of love there.
If you talk to my kids, like when I worked for the casino, it was like the best job that you could ever have in a casino. Marketing director, right? Over the whole casino marketing. I was over that and the food and beverage, over 2 restaurants and 2 bars, and then also the computer department, the whole thing. I held 3 top positions in the casino when it should have been one guy for each one, but it was so fun. I could do it without even trying, right? And it all isn't all you. All you have to do is get in your head. It's the same principle as working with kids, only now you have managers and assistant director, secretaries, all kinds of staff. We were only successful by how successful our whole team was, because there was no way I was going to go pull all that stuff off. But the job, like the marketing job, I would buy advertising at ball games, like pro ball games, and like I would own so many home games, and the whole game would be nothing but my advertising all over. I'd go out and shoot the cannon with the t-shirts, and shoot it up in the crowd and pay for all the concerts, and my kids, free seats everywhere, box seats, catered seats, all kinds of, the job is if anybody wants the best, funnest job where it's nothing but a party,
Oh,
everybody wants to be your friend because you have tickets to absolutely everything, right? And if you don't have them, you could get them, and more than one, usually enough to take your best friend, his wife, and your wife, and maybe some kids, right? Depending. But it's like the wildest job. Well, my kids would come along with me on all these like car shows and games and concerts and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, they had a lot of fun. It was,
oh,
I wish I wasn't working because I would have liked to go hang with them more, but they still had a great time, right? And bring all their friends. Usually I'd have like 50 general seats that I could give away and not give all of them away. So like a dozen of them come in there, you know, and hang out right there. And it's a funnest job. If anybody wants to get into the funnest job is marketing at a casino. You do
oh.
nothing but give everything away.
I
You
would
know,
love to. That sounds like the best job ever. It actually would be really fun to be hang out with your family, and it'd be fun to work with you, Alan. Okay, I know it would be. I bet that place was awesome. And in one place I really enjoyed going, you know, up at Cherokee, there's a casino at Cherokee. Right there on the right at the reservation, I guess, in Cherokee, North Carolina, where I've been. And
really.
I actually, yeah, there's a casino there, and
And the
I
Cherokee tribe has it. I heard they
Cherokee.
have like 7 of them.
It's like a Cherokee Harrah's casino or something like that, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's right there, pretty much near near the reservation, if not on it. I think it's right there beside it. And I went there. I did okay. So I actually was there on a Bigfoot trip. Actually, the last time I was up there, and I was hanging out with 2 elders of the Cherokee um, nation up there, and they took me around to where all the Bigfoot sightings had been, because they were one of the guys I was with was one of the gentlemen who everybody on the reservation would call whenever there was a Bigfoot sighting. And so he had all the spots plotted out, and he drove us around. We drove him around, and he showed us all the spots where the Bigfoot sightings had been in Cherokee, North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That
awesome.
is cool.
Yeah.
They know all the spots too.
Oh
And
yeah.
probably more. They didn't even show you that is more sacred. You know what I mean? You get to go to all the
Mhm.
tourist ones, but still, they don't usually
Oh
share that either very much. It's kind of
no.
cool.
It was inside information for sure. And I was lucky enough. I just hit a good weekend going up there with some friends, and we had a really good time. We had I was actually kind of shocked at how many sightings they had, and it wasn't like it was a big deal. He was like, this isn't a big deal. This happens all the time. We get uh, hairy man sightings all the time. He
Yeah,
said so.
it's in their
Yeah.
history and it goes back hundreds of years. So they understand it way better than we do. And I don't even know why our government won't say they're real, you know, and they're always messing with us. I can't, I get some weird stuff happens when you start figuring out Bigfoot, you know, or
Mhm.
you learn some history and you start checking things out. Weird stuff happens, your cell phone and weird stuff, and it isn't from the Bigfoot. You know, it's the white vans and stuff, right?
It was. Well, I'm going to tell you a couple of other things that they showed me. The insiders at Cherokee showed me. Well, they took us up to Judaculla Rock. Okay, and that is a place. It's a gigantic rock, and it's got petroglyphs on it that nobody really knows exactly how old this is or who made it, where it came from. The rock's not even native to that area, but it's this gigantic rock, and I think it tells the story of the Star People, is what Chief David was telling us. And so we went to Judaculla, and it's supposed to have been protected a long time ago by a giant named Tsul Kalu. Okay, Tsul Kalu. So we went to
Tsul
that.
Kalu, yeah.
Tsul Kalu. Yeah,
Tsul Kalu. I
Tsul
know
Kalu.
that story.
Well, we were there. There's actually a throne. They call it the throne, right across the pasture. Okay, because this is in the middle of a pasture where cows graze. And so we went, and he showed us the throne. It was like a bunch of rocks that looked like they were set up like a place where somebody would sit. And they said that's where Tsul Kalu used to sit and guard the area. And he would chase down any of the Cherokee huntsmen that would come out looking to hunt on that land. He would chase them off. Okay, he would chase him off. He'd sit on his throne and keep guard. He also had a human girlfriend, by the way,
I
and he's
think
supposed to be a Bigfoot.
it was his wife, and they
Yeah.
had babies. Have you heard about the baby story on that one?
No. No. What's the baby
ba-
story?
How he met, he picked out the little, Cherokee girl,
Mm-hmm.
and he started seeing her, and the mom didn't know, but she was telling the mom all about it, and he told her. The mom says, well, if he was a real hunter, he would leave a deer. He would hunt a deer and leave it, and then he killed a deer and left it on the porch. And when the mom came out, there was a deer, right? Not skinned, not processed. That made her mad. But only he would never let her see him. But ultimately, he got her pregnant, and the mom, they did something where the mom didn't like the baby, and it didn't look right, so she kind of took it off to the river and dumped it in the river. And they said it looked like a little worm. And so when Tsul Kalu came and was saying, hey, I know there's a baby, right? There's a baby. And I think it was only 3-month gestation. I mean, it was to say it was like a short gestation. And he got mad because they went and took it and washed it in the river, right? Washed it all off in the river, and went and found this little worm thing, and then grabbed the girl and took off with the baby and with the girl. And later on, the brother of the girl was at the mom's house, and she's telling what all happened. He goes, we'll track him, So they started tracking Tsul Kalu and this girl. And I hope I'm getting this right. I'm going from memory of a few years, but I know I'm generally close.
Yeah.
But as they were tracking them, they would come to a camp, and it was like a multi-day track trip. But every time they would get to a camp area, the baby was all of a sudden a toddler, and then it was older, and it was running around, okay, in a couple of days. It grew from a little worm into like a teenager, a toddler. And so it was like, it gives you an insight of maybe what we all don't know about how the gestation of a Bigfoot and how the growth of the baby, and it's like abnormally quick according to that story, right? According to that story. And that story is so cool. I would recommend anybody getting the book. Oh man, it's by Moody, and I think
James
it's
Moody.
Cherokee Legends and Myths and Legends or something like that. Get that book, and it has the entire lore of Tsul Kalu and also all the other things like the angels that came when Jesus was born. These light being angels came and told him they wanted him to fast and pray for 7 days. At the end of 7 days, they told him, okay, the king is born, right? The king is born, and left. And then 30 years later, they came back and visited the tribe and told them to fast and pray. And then they said the king is now with the Father, right? Or with the Creator. So he passed away or gave his life, and the whole Bible narrative in the Cherokee to lores and traditions, which is pretty amazing. I'm probably getting all this a little bit off, but anyone could go and get that book by Moody and check that out. It is really interesting. Really interesting.
I have the book on my bookshelf right here, and I think it's James Moody. I think it's who that
James
is.
Moody. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
I actually, okay, so Chief David Webb, by the way, David Webb has written a book on Judicola Rock. You guys go check that out. I haven't talked to him in a while. It was over 10 years since I've been hanging out with him up at Cherokee. Okay, so it's been a while. But he wrote a book on Judicola Rock. But he suggested that I buy that book at their local bookstore while I was there, and also a Cherokee language book as well.
Right.
And so I I was actually going to help him write a book or something at some point. So that's why that's how we got up there and got on these topics. But actually, you know, I do have I have a shop. It's called War Woman Goods. And I actually got the inspiration for that name from War Woman, and they talk about war women in that book.
Yeah,
Okay, and so that's where I got the inspiration for my shop. Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Man, that is cool. Did you read the book? Like, it has that whole story of Tsul Kalu in it, and
I did.
And how what he did for the mom, and she was like not having it. And then when she finally saw him, she freaked out. You know, she was like, "Oh my God, it's a monster!" And she went running off, and that really bothered him because he's not a monster, you know. But then, you know, back later when they're at where he lives, and there was other Bigfoot in there, and the brother finally caught him. It was like going into a different dimension, into a boulder, into his home, right? I mean, that's such a cool story. I love that book. And then at the end of the book, or the back of the book, it has all the homeopathic plants and herbs and stuff like that you can get, and what kind of medicine it is. And I've given that book away to some of my doctors just for that part, because that's good stuff that you can't find, you know. Good.
That's right. It's very good stuff. And I was trying to see if I could grab it, but I've got a sea of books back here. So, but it's a red book. Okay. And so you guys go check it out. It's really thick too. It's really thick. Rhonda Gerard, thank you so much for that super sticker. She says, "Love you, Jessica. Your show just gets better and better all the time." Thank you. It's because of great guests and co-hosts. Okay. That's why. So thank you. Like Alan over here. So you had mentioned it could be like portal. Somebody had mentioned portals. Okay. And the throne, Cosmic Joe Chronicles said, "Do you think those thrones could be portals to other dimensions?" And you were actually just kind of insinuating there could be some kind of connection there with boulders and portals, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, if you if you do some research on giants, you'll come to where the fallen ones landed on Mount Hermon, and some of the places where there's thrones and even tombs are sometimes right at the portal places, you know, or there'll be a place for sacrifice, right? Those are the places. And from what I understand from talking with some people that, you know, interviews that we've done way back of, you know, Carrie Cassidy and some other people about this kind of thing, is it's almost like we're Swiss cheese. The earth is like Swiss cheese, and there's these portals all over the place, and they're everywhere. And even to the point of where if you're in the woods, like the staircase, you see a staircase, or you could take 2 steps like you were talking about, and all of a sudden you're disappearing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're everywhere from what I understand. And the reason I was even researching it was because Bigfoot seems to be able to open them anywhere, right? Anywhere, and disappear or do whatever. And yeah, there's portals and then just about everywhere.
Oh yeah, you got to be careful where you're walking. Okay, you do. And something that I've encountered that I wanted to bring up tonight with you is something it's been in the news a lot lately, and it may be the reason that I started feeling sick on Saturday night. Last Saturday, a week ago, we had a show here. We had my good friend Eric, author E.D. Testerman, was on the show, and I knew that I was getting kind of a fever before we went on air, because I was getting sweaty and I was hot, but I was cold, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm coming down with something." But I'm gonna go ahead and do a show. I wanted to do a show, and I had to cut the show a little bit early because I started getting not well, let's just say. And it turned out we had this really thick, dense fog. Okay, that was blanketing the South. It was all over the country, really, but I didn't know that at the time. And it's turned out that I woke up the next morning, and there were all these people saying, "Did you guys get sick last night? Did everybody get sick last night? We had a fog, you know, something with this fog." And it wasn't like a fog that I'm used to, I guess. And I've actually encountered a lot of different types of strange fogs out in the field when I've been Bigfooting. One time, actually, a fog appeared to have a consciousness to it. It was alive. And so I was going to ask you tonight about fog. Okay. And if you've ever had any kind of weird experiences with it, and what do you think about this fog? It's making everybody sick right now.
Where I live, we're known for the fog. They call it Thule fog, and it gets so foggy that you can't see 20 feet. And so, like, I'm a little bit worried about this fog because I have family all around the country, Tennessee and North Carolina, all around, and they're all talking about this fog. And I guess, like, for you, like my son was saying, in North Carolina, they don't have fog like we have it here. So to have fog is like an event, like kind of different. And they've been having the fog, and he said it's not like the fog here. It's kind of more particles, like bigger particles of moisture particles.
Yeah.
And everybody's getting sick, and I have friends and everything, and all over the place, like Colorado, I mean, everywhere. So far here that I know of, like locally for me, nothing yet, but I'll keep you tuned in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a strange phenomenon that's going on right now. And I am a conspiracy theorist, I guess you could say. I'm actually a realist.
Yeah.
And I know there's something fishy going on. And I do think it's man-made. So not to get into too many details, I think there's something a little more fishy going on with the fog that's making people sick. And I'm not going to call myself a victim of it, but I do believe it did affect me last week. So
I think we're not done with I don't think we're ending with the fog. And I think that we're still going to see the orbs, the ships, the fog. I think we're going to see some stuff, and I think it's going to be ramping up. I mean, now that they're blowing up cars and stuff like that, running over people, I think they really don't want this orange man in office, and I have a feeling they'll do anything to keep him out. And I actually believe, like, in the conspiracy part of it, of been doing this for years, I actually think, it's just my opinion, I haven't heard it anywhere, but they're using that as like, hey, see what we did right there? We're gonna knock out a whole city next time, 500,000 or 1 million people, and maybe we'll even do it to 2 cities, and you guys better start thinking about not doing what you're gonna do, right? Otherwise, we're gonna do this. Look what we did over here, and they're just keep ramping it up and applying pressure so that these guys hopefully will back off, right? I don't think they're gonna back off. I think we're in it, and I don't know how it's going to go, and I don't know how bad it's going to get, but it's biblical, if you know what I mean.
It is biblical. And that's something else I wanted to talk with you about tonight, because for the past year, we've talked about the end times. Okay, the end times, and people have come on the show and quoted verses about how the beasts are in the end times. It's almost like we're living out Revelations right now in so many ways. But cryptids seem to potentially play a role in the end times. And I don't know, I'm not saying this is the end times. Okay. I'm not saying this is the apocalypse or anything. All right. But it just seems like, I don't know if it's scripted or this is for real. Okay. There's a lot of stuff going on that could indicate this is kind of like similar to what the end times are supposed to be, right?
It's dead on the money.
Yeah.
There's so many things, like, I know, and people that read the Bible or have studied prophecy, they know that we are at where there's no time, right? There's no time left. Where if there's a decade, I'll be surprised, but there's hardly no time left. And when you start researching into the cryptid, what we now today call cryptid, but back in the day they called them chimera or something like that, right? That's what we're looking at today, or things that are flying through a portal, like a pterodactyl or something, where the veil's getting thin. Everything is reacting to what the times that we're living in. Everything's reacting to it. The storms, the earth, the planets, everything is reacting. And the Bible kind of gives you a clue in saying that when you see these things all happening at the same time, like all these things have happened many times over the centuries, but never was all of them happening in such a condensed time frame. Like you could hold up your hand and count all of how bad it is on 5 fingers, right, in one hand. Yeah, I mean, if you go 10 years, now you could even add more stuff, earthquakes, but only now we're seeing, like, we had the plague. I probably shouldn't say that word, but that's what everybody knows what it is when I say that. We're wars like crazy, especially this one war in the Middle East. We're even being told there's going to be more, bubonic or whatever. In the Bible, it actually talks about fog. The fog is what rolled in and killed everybody when Moses, I can't remember what the name of the day is, but one night they had to paint the blood over their door jambs, right? And everybody that did that, the angel of death would pass through, but then it came as a fog, right? Now, if you go back and research fog in history, I'm not 100% sure on the dates, but I do know from 10 years ago, reading it in a book, the plagues back in the day came with also a fog, right? So is this fog something totally new, or have they used this fog before, or is it something totally, natural, but still only happens like every few thousand or few hundred years or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sure, but I do know these things came with a fog going way back, right? And you could research that, and you could actually get more closer to dates on it, but it came with a fog. That is why I'm really worried about this fog. Like, who's using it, right? Who's doing it? Are we doing it, our government, or is it what they call aliens, right? Or the fallen ones, I call them. Or is it something God released, and it's like a God thing, I don't know, but there's something to it.
There's
and it's
definitely
serious,
something to
right?
it.
And we're at the end, so that means you got to even take all this stuff even more serious, because just about everything in the Bible back then, or supposedly during this time, to kill you. In fact, I was talking to somebody yesterday about, are we going to be alive in 25, right? In 24, I said there's going to be more in 24, because, and there was, right? I was predicting by the last decade, 2024 was going to be more, and it was going to be bad and off the charts bad and hard. There was more in 24. Now I'm saying, are we all going to be alive in 25, right?
Yes, we're going to
all
be alive
kinds
in
of
25.
stuff is happening. Are we going to be alive in 25? I mean, that's my question.
I'm going to be alive in 25. I'm going to thrive in 25. How about that?
There you go.
How
Thriving
about
in
them
25.
apples?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Everybody in the chat, we're all going to thrive in 25, right, y'all? Okay. Yeah. We're trying to stay on the sunny side, y'all. Stay on the sunny side. And
I'm trying to stay on the green side.
right?
Right? Green side up. And as long as I wake up on the green side of things, I'm good. I don't want to be taking a dirt nap.
No, stay fresh. Yeah, stay fresh to death. And Prince Arcane says Passover. The Sulanoth,
Passover, that's it.
is a creature. The Sulanoth, a creature came through. What is the Sulanoth? What is that?
I never heard of it,
Ooh,
but I believe it. Like,
yeah.
I quit not believing and checking things out instead. Before I say I believe it or I don't believe it, I want to check it out. But that one sounds like a fallen one. That's what it sounds
It
like.
does. Well, we have seen a lot of giant sightings this past year. In 2024, there were several giant sightings, and we covered them here on the channel. I even did some remote viewing on them, as a matter of fact. And there was, we did a show where I had remote viewed, I think it was the Tomb of Gilgamesh or something. And they were talking about how we were
That'd be
talking about
cool.
how the giants were waking up, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like some of the giants were in stasis, and
Yeah.
now it's kind of like they're being awakened. Now, did they choose to wake up at this time, and why? Where are they? What's going to happen? And who's using
Well,
them? How are they
I
being
don't know. I don't
weaponized?
know how versed everyone is. Okay, like
Hmm.
I've been talking to people in the Federation, Galactic Federation, for years. Okay,
Hmm.
and what's really a trip about that I find some of the people that are channeling through saying that they're our creator race and stuff like that, and they their names are the actual names that the Bible names as the fallen ones or the Book of Enoch. They name names, right? Simjazi and stuff like that. Some of these Simjazi and some of these names are coming back today, right? They're channeling through people and telling them we're going to see more UFOs, really going to start seeing them. And then the ones where the giants were revived were actually in these things called arcs, and they're huge. And there's like one under Russia, there's one in the ocean outside of Bermuda, somewhere over there by the Bermuda Triangle. And there's like 7 of them all around the earth, and they're either under the earth where they have to go through tunnels to get to it, or they're under the ocean. And these things have been waking up now for a little while, from what I understand, like for I would say a couple of years. And now they actually were taking these stones or crystals, and when they would take it, and they don't even, like, the guys doing it don't even know exactly where it came from. It's coming from the higher ups, and they're saying take it over here in this place, sometimes down under underground base, or sometimes over to one of these arcs, and it turns everything on, and it also wake up the giant.
Hmm.
This crystal
Okay.
wakes up the giant, and it also turns on everything in these big giant ships. And then there's also one more thing that the the Planet X and all that kind of thing,
Okay.
that really could be happening too. If you go look at, if you keep track of how many asteroids and meteors are coming through in the last 2 or 3 weeks, it has increased and increased and increased, and it hasn't showed any sign of not leveling off. It's like staying increased. And when you start getting earthquakes and pull, that gravitational pull from another planet, this is what you're going to start seeing on the Earth. The weather's going to mess up. There's going to be volcanism and earthquakes and stuff like that. And then it could be like running in a different dimension, but just so close to our dimension that you can't see it, but you can feel it coming through. And if you read about the destructions of past times, like the one in Kazakhstan, I can't say it, but over there in the stands area, where something came through and it just ripped the earth, the whole thing, and they call it the death planet or something like that. That thing was in another dimension where you didn't see it until the last minute, even though the earth was doing its thing, right? It could be what ripped the earth whenever the flood happened, which led to all that. And it maybe comes through every so often. I think that's on its way as well. Not only just are we worried about all this other stuff. I think that actually is what's ripping through right now, getting because of how many I've been watching the meteors and stuff for a while, and it's like in the last 10 years it's getting more and more and more. And then when you do the research into the Lucifer telescope, and they're looking at a certain part of the sky all the time, and I think that's where it's coming from. So that's what I think might be our biggest worry of all things, is that.
Okay, well, I can say that I know for sure. I had a friend who has passed away now, and so I'm not going to mention any names or anything, but part of his job, he worked for a major automotive company. I'm not going to say which one. The major automotive company, and part of his job was, let me just say, he volunteered on the side for NASA for fun.
Sweet.
Okay, he did like volunteer work for them, and part of his job was to watch the satellite, to keep an eye on their satellites, watching outer space for anything that would come close to Earth and things like that, which I found really odd. Like, why would an automotive company need somebody to man their satellites system to watch out for incoming threats? Like, what was that about?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. I know that does happen, and I know that all these big companies have an interest in whatever's out there and whatever's headed our way.
You see what Elon Musk just put out like a couple days ago was our phones he's going to open the ability for our phones to use Starlink. So you'll be able to go anywhere in the world and make a phone call and use texting. And I don't know about going online or anything like that, but he just now talked about that, and if you follow the Q movement, then there's EBS and 10 Days of Darkness and all this stuff coming, right? And a lot of the Q movement of some of the military that I know and people that follow that, back when Trump was becoming president the first time, they were saying this is what's going on, and all that Q stuff was happening. And then the next election killed it dead, like it went on pause or something.
Yeah.
But only now, all of a sudden, the Q stuff is starting to come true again, right? So
yeah, sounds like
it's weird that all these things are happening in space, the Space Force, all this stuff, right? All this stuff.
Okay.
I wish I knew all the answers, but I don't. I'm with everybody else, like I'm buckled up for the ride, but I don't really know where it's going,
I don't think any of us do, but Moondog Davis has an interesting statement here, and I was going to ask you. They say Vatican binocular telescope, one inverted lens, and can see the unseen.
Yeah.
Well, this past week, the Pope, I guess was it like New Year's or was it Christmas? It was in between Christmas and New Year's. The Pope opened up, was it 5 portals?
I think it was Christmas night.
Christmas night? What was that about?
I don't know. I haven't heard if he opened anything up or not, but I had a vision. I should tell you guys about this vision. I had a vision November 3rd of 2023. And I was in Idaho helping a friend set up his podcast studio, building a computer for him and getting him all set up. And he paid my way and everything. I mean, he's so generous. But I built him this like $9,000 computer. But while I was there, I had 2 dreams. And I never have a dream. Never have a dream. But in this dream, I was walking around and I had a big sword, and it was outside, like I don't know where, but outside. And I came across a demon, and it wasn't very big, but only it attacked me. So I fought it, and I fought it with a sword, and I killed it, and I was all happy, like, oh yeah, I'm bad. And then I went a little bit further and I ran into another one, only it was a little stronger, but I beat it. I'm like, dude, this is cool. In my dream, I thought it was so cool. But I kept on running into him, and it was like, what is going on? And each one got harder. after about the third or fourth one, I was standing there and I was thinking, dang, maybe I better go back, because that last one about took me out. I mean, like in the dream, he was really hard and it was close. And I don't want to keep going if I can't win. I don't want to die. And I don't even know it's a dream at this point still, right? And this big giant guy walks up. I mean, he was like 10 feet tall. He looked like Conan the Barbarian, right? He was wearing clothes like Conan the Barbarian, and he had a big old huge sword. And I was like, whoa, dude. He goes, hey, it seems like we're doing the same thing. You want to team up? Thinking, sure, let's team up. So we teamed up and we started going and fighting these demons, and they got harder. And then some of them had, and it sounds like a video game. I don't know why, but it to me, it sounds like a video game. But only some of them had pets, right? They had like little bitty demons with like double hatchets or something, coming at you. And then you had to worry about the big one with the axe and the sword, swinging at you. That's bigger than the 10-foot angel. After a while, they were huge. And we were beating them. And then there came a point where it was really hard. Like even me and the angel, or I started calling him Angel because he was like an angel, right? So this angel, we couldn't beat. We almost didn't beat the last pair of demons, and some more people showed up with little swords and different weapons and stuff like that. And this one guy showed up that seemed like a teacher or a wise man or something like that. And later on in the dream, I realized it might be Jesus, because he was teaching, he was saying things on how to beat the demons, but he wouldn't tell me exactly how. He would only make me figure it out. He would give me clues, and then I had to figure it out in the fight. And there was some times where I thought for sure I was going to die, right? But when we won, and finally we're celebrating after this one huge big one with his little pet was as big as us, right? Not little guy, he was big. And this guy was really big, like 30 feet tall. I mean, when he swung at you, he was like 5 blocks away, and then all of a sudden you see the sword go, whew, I mean, like it was a trip to have a dream like that, right?
That is wow.
And, yeah, and it even got me in the leg. This last guy, he faked me out with a big hatchet or an axe, and then he clipped me across the front of the leg with the sword, because it was so far away and it was moving in slow motion. I was just like frozen, like, and it got me, and I fell down. But then we won. The angel guy killed him, and we're all celebrating. Yeah, there's like 100 people with us now. The angel, 100 people, me, and the wise man, or what I think was Jesus. After I came to, I realized it was Jesus. But so we're standing there, and he's like, wow, you guys did really good. Now this is Jesus talking. He's like, you guys did really good. He goes, but there's one more, and he's coming with a comet. I'm like, a comet? Whoa, and he goes, this guy's going to be the worst evil that ever landed on the earth, and it's going to come with a comet. And all of a sudden he goes, look, there's a comet. We all look, whoa, there's a comet. He goes, let's go, he's here, like that. So we took off and we went after this demon, and it happened to be this little bitty dude, looked like a little Chinese kung fu master, right? Little bitty dude, no muscles, no little battle bot with him or nothing.
No Conan the Barbarian.
No sword, no anything. And I'm thinking, this is the hard one, this is the hard one. Like, no.
The final boss.
What? Like, I could just back off and let the angel do it, He'll handle it with his pinky. Well, that thing it was like a mage. If you do gaming, a mage, they use little spells and stuff. Well, this dude, he would say what he wanted to happen to you, like freeze, and you freeze, and you can't move. And you would have, like, then the Jesus guy's going, have faith, have faith. You're doubting, when you have doubt, the words are going to get you. The words are going to get you, you know, and use my name, use my name. That's how I knew he was Jesus, like his name. Then realized Jesus' name froze him, like freeze in Jesus' name. Bam, he was freezing, right? It was like, whoa. Well, then we won. And he's like, okay, now it's time to go clean up. Right. That was the worst one, but that doesn't mean they're all gone. There's a lot more to do. And everybody's like, gunk, you know, like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. All of a sudden, I started waking up. And I'm realizing it's a dream. I'm waking up, but it was so real. And I'm like, no, I don't want to wake up. And then I started realizing I'll remember the dream, but I won't remember what I said or what Jesus said. So I'm going to remember the dream, everything about it, but I didn't, all the clues and everything he gave me and all the knowledge I learned, I was going to forget. I'm like, no, you know, and I woke up screaming, no, you know, like, oh man, you know, like I can't remember. I was so mad. And that was my dream. So then 5 nights later, I'm asleep and I'm outside and I'm walking around, but only this time there's destruction everywhere. Like all the buildings are leveled. There's fires everywhere. Whatever structures that were still there were not big buildings anymore. It's just like walls and little burned out buildings, and everything was destroyed. And the bad people were running around robbing everyone. And I was like, I wanted to help people, but there was no fighting these guys that wanted control and power. There was no control. There was no cops. There was no army. There was no mayor. There was no anything but people running around trying to live. And these bad guys that were just taking whatever they could from everybody. That's how they were surviving, you know. And it was like, dang, you know. And in that one, I was trying to get people together so that we could actually fight these guys off, but we can't do it separate. We have to get together and we all have to like agree to get along and protect ourselves. And if we put our stuff together, you know, and then I woke up, you know, and that was my second dream. I haven't had a dream since. And now it's what, 2025. But that was in 2023, the end of 2023. And I couldn't figure out what it was, but now here we are in 2025. Are you going to be alive in 2025? I don't know, you know, but in my dreams, we're at the end, the angel and Jesus and fighting demons, and the worst demon came with a comet. What's really weird about that, so in November 23, I have the dream of the demon coming with a comet. On April 8th of 24, I'm working leather and I'm listening to a podcast, and it comes on it's the news. I was listening to the news, and they say, there's a demon comet, you know. I'm like,
no
what?
way.
There's a demon comet on April 8th. With the solar eclipse came a demon comet.
Wait, this year? Coming up?
2024.
Last year. Oh gosh.
April 8th, there was a demon comet.
No way.
Talk about freaking me out, man. I almost knocked everything over. Like, what did he say? What did he say? Oh my God, you know.
That's prophetic.
Yeah.
You're having prophetic dreams though. And you know, and a lot of us do think, like, I feel like I do a lot of work in the astral realm when I sleep at night. And I think that's why a lot of us are really tired when we wake up in the morning. It's because we've been working our butts off in the astral. You know, honestly, about a week, I'm going to say like 2 weeks ago, I had my first dream that I can remember where I was actually fighting an actual demon myself. I don't remember fighting. I mean, I know I've had fights with my ex. That was close. Okay. But this was a real demon. Okay. And I woke up that morning and I was like, man, I've never, ever had a dream with an actual, what I believe to be was a demon in it, ever.
Right.
And I was literally fighting it. And you know what it looked like? Okay. So they're showing all these demons in our pop culture now. Okay. Like pop stars, Doja Cat. Okay, that's a girl. She's a singer, dancer.
Or like the reptilian thing,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, she has a video where she's actually. So what I saw in my dream was like that version of her where she's like a all in all black, and she's got horns on her head, and that's what I saw in my dream. It was like a little demon that looked just like her. And I thought, man, I mean, it was just the oddest thing, like waking up to that. It's like, what the heck? What did I eat last night? Okay, to have a dream like that. Must have had some pizza.
I never dreamed. So everybody's telling me, man, you
Yeah.
need to put a pencil and paper down. But then I'll have it, and pretty soon, like 2 years go by, 3 years go by. I mean, I never dreamed ever. Those are the last two dreams. In the last 10 years or 15 years, that's the only dreams I ever had. And I hope the other one doesn't happen. The one where everything's all burned out and there's no law and order and there's no cops and there's no military and everybody's out for their own. And I had a feeling there wasn't very much population left where I was, right? Close. So I didn't know about that one, but I know the demon one, that one's pretty much dead on right now. The demon comet came, and then right after that, Biden hit the scene, and really they've been destroying our world everywhere. And we've been financing it and we don't even have a say. We just let them send our billions over there. It's like crazy. Like, what world do we live in? It's crazy.
We've some of, I feel like I woke up in a really wild timeline. Okay. But that's what I'm here for. We're here to slay demons, Alan. Okay.
Well, they say that we chose to be here, right?
We did. Yes.
There's if you talk to some people, they say we actually, even the Galactic Federation, they say, hey, you chose to be here. Why do you want to end your life and get out of it? Like, what are you so worried about? You wanted it.
Right. Well, I'm here for the ride. It is like I had a really interesting conversation with a gentleman the other day, and we were talking about flat Earth. Okay, and I know that's a tough subject. Okay, I don't want to get into that topic tonight. But we talked about living in a simulation, like what are the odds? And I'm going to bring this guy on my show. Oh my God, what was his name? Anyways, I can't remember. Anyway, it's one of the biggest names in like flat earthers. Okay, and so I'm gonna remember his name, and I'm gonna ask him to come on the show soon, and we'll talk about living in a simulation and all that kind of stuff, because it was one of the more interesting conversations I've had when it came to flat Earth and stuff.
We definitely do. Like, but I've researched into this. Like, they have a light experiment where they shoot light through these slats, right? And when it's being observed, it shows a certain way. And when it's not being observed by a person, it's different. And they don't understand how the light will change the pattern the light hitting this wall, and how it changes because when we look at it or perceive it. So that actually tells us that we're living in a simulation, like, and it may be reactive to our attention and what we're looking at.
It is. That's what Mark said. Okay, his name's Mark Sargent, y'all. I'm sorry. I knew I'd think of it in a second. Mark, I did a show with Mark Sargent, and he's got a big old YouTube channel. I think it's called Mark Sargent. I don't know. It's something about flat Earth. And I know my audience is super duper polarized, and most people believe the Earth is round that watch my shows, I think. But I think it's like half and half. Might be half and half. Kind of more swayed to the globe. Okay. But anyways, like I said, we won't go there tonight. It's a big old fighting. Those are fighting words.
Yeah. Okay. I believe it's round, but it might not be the same size as what we think, but I think it's round. I mean, when you look at a telescope and you look around, everything's a sphere. Why would we be any different? Right.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's how I see it. And then if you're a pilot, and I studied to be a pilot back in the day, my dad's a retired Marine Corps pilot. So I did a lot of flying when I was little or growing up. And there's ways of figuring out how to get from here to there that you have to figure a sphere. If you don't figure it, you're not going to be there. So that right there, like, if you take that sphere calculation out, then, you're lost. You're not going to make it. So I don't, if you fly by flat Earth, then you would be able to fly from here to there, and you could just calculate straight from here to there. It doesn't work like that, that. And if somebody can show me how that works, I'm listening. You know what I mean?
I'm
I agree with
listening.
you. Like,
I'm
people
open.
freak out over this one. I don't know why.
I don't know either. Some people say it's shaped like a hot dog. I mean, who knows? Okay. But speaking of hot dogs and not knowing I just don't know sometimes. I'm just saying. Larry Sharp, thank you so much. That's so sweet. I just looked over. We have some super stickers in the chat tonight, and I wanted to acknowledge those. Larry Sharp, thank you so much for gifting the Cryptid Huntress membership to a lucky viewer tonight. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for your support. Happy Saturday, and prayers for you too as well. And also, Kent Baxter, thank you so much for being here tonight. It says, thank you, Jessica, for always putting on a great show with a smile on your face. You're welcome. I have to, if I'm not laughing, I'm crying, Kent. Okay. So we're just over here having fun. And I wanted to thank you for that very much. And also we have Firewater by Design. Thank you so much for being here. She gifted one Cryptid Hunters membership as well to a lucky viewer tonight. So thank you so much for that. And Walter, thank you so much for that super sticker. I appreciate your support so much. And so, yeah, I just wanted to take a second to thank everybody. I'm not forgetting y'all. We're just over here talking, and notice I had a few of these in the chat. So that's awesome. Yeah. Mark, so I need to get, okay. So Mark Sargent, yes, I think that would be a great conversation to have. He is actually a computer programmer. So I kept bringing up when I was talking with him, I kept mentioning us living in a simulation, and he's a flat earth specialist. Okay. Like that's what he talks about. And he speaks all over the world on flat earth. And I kept bringing up, well, what if we just live in a simulation? What if we live in a simulation? Because I don't know the first thing about flat earth. Right. And he was like, well, that's really interesting that you keep bringing that up because I make computer games for a living. That's what he told me.
So he creates virtual worlds.
He does. And he had the best arguments that I've ever heard in my life of, first of all, living in a simulation, which I think that we probably could, and flat earth. And so I'm not going to say he totally convinced me, but I'm just going to say I was thoroughly impressed. And I think it's worth listening to. I think it's worth everybody going to his YouTube channel and me having him on the show sometime. Okay. Just for entertainment and educational purposes. Okay.
What I do know is we're like in a fishbowl or like when a snow globe, right?
Hey, Peter.
We're in here, and if we think we're all that in a bag of chips, we're probably just little like Horton Hears a Who dust particles. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
in the scheme of things, we think we're all that, and we go do our day and everything. But what if we're like less than a dust particle in a vast thing of all kinds of creatures and places, and we're almost like thinking we're really something, and we might not be much of anything, really. We can just pretend whatever we think, But I'm really for that virtual, and then it wouldn't matter if the Earth was flat or round. It wouldn't be anything that we thought. It would be a virtual world where you could be Neo and wake up and pull this thing out of your neck, right? And be in a juice tub or whatever. I mean, who knows, right?
Who knows? Well, I know that we do create our own reality, and we are able to manifest our own reality. And that's even like having a good day or having a bad day. It's all up to us. And when they say that it's all in your head, it's not a lie. With a lot of stuff.
True.
Even, we're all like tuning forks. I know this has nothing to do with cryptid, y'all, but it's like each of us is like a tuning fork. And however we are feeling sets the tone for everybody around us. And so that's why I'm always telling everybody, protect your energy, especially if you go to Walmart or the grocery store, put up a protective energy bubble, because if you're on a higher vibrational frequency and you're feeling good, energy vampires will suck off of you. You know what I mean? And like bring you back down and suck you back.
Yeah.
Right. So we got to be really mindful of that. I mean, I even did a show this past year on I call them loose harvesting entities. And could that be like reptilians? Could be whatever. It could be anything. It could be humans, right? Demonic demons and stuff too. Loose sharp things that kind of live off of your life force energy. Okay, and there's way too much of that on this earth right now.
Well, I know a lot of people, they don't even realize, but if you go biblical on everything, and the God is making the simulation, and he's actually making the glue that holds us all together and all that, right? He says, like, he made us in his own image, so we create our environment, and you only speak out of your mouth what's on your heart, what you believe. Mm-hmm. Basically, you can't pretty much veer too far off that what you believe. So if you're always talking negative from the time you get up, I heard this, that, and grumping about everything, and you go out your day grumping, it's like a mirror, right? It's looking at you, and it's going to reflect back to you what you're feeding that, right? What you're creating. So it's going to bounce off, and this I don't know, virtual world that we're living in or whatever, it's going to give you what your heart wants. And if that's all it hears, that's all you're saying, then that's all you get. And it takes a while for you to break that. You have to start by making yourself get up and say different things. And even though you want to say it so bad, don't let it go past your lips. And believe it or not, you'll start feeling better. And pretty soon you won't even realize it. You'll be whistling and telling everybody hello, and you forgot all about what you were creating before, because now you just set yourself up to be in a different virtual world, right? I mean, like, the things that you're desiring are coming to you now, the right things. And then it will become what you want, because really that's what you wanted all along. You were just grumbling too much where you can't get it. You're looking at other people's stuff and being jealous, or, man, that dude's too happy, or whatever, right? And you created it for your own self. Well, that's you. It's all on you, like you said.
Yeah, your vibe attracts your tribe too.
That's right.
That's why we're friends now, Alan.
That's right. I think so.
Weirdos.
Only I think God gave me a gift, and I didn't know what it was, but like, I'm weird, like, I've hung out with, like, my best friend was Richard Keel, one of my best friends, and he's the giant guy in James Bond, Jaws, and he was in, and I met so many people and hung out with really a lot of famous people. So I got to see, like, I wasn't famous and I was not rich. I was totally poor. They helped me a lot, and they gave me breaks. And I started realizing it wasn't what I know so much as who I knew, and networking, and actually being able to be friendly with some people and be on their level in some way. And it got me real far, right? And I do it naturally, though. I do it naturally. And I wish everybody had that. It makes life easier sometimes. You might not be rich, and you might not be doing what you want to do, but you'll get closer to what you want to do, because it seems like as you're being a good dude and saying good things and bringing that karma to you or whatever, it will also create opportunity for you. But if you can make friends really easy, that opportunity is exponentially more, but I know that's what it is. I run around, I can't hardly grumble. If I hear myself even get negative, I freak out, like, whoa, did I just say that? Like, I take that back, because I don't want anything to change how everything's going for me right now anyways.
I feel you. I'm the same way too. I try to stay positive. I do. And I got plenty of reasons to not be positive, but I try my best to be positive all the time. And you know what? Something that I just giggled every time I thought about it. Since you came on the show, I started calling Bigfoots forest ninjas. Okay.
Yeah.
ever since our show, I had never even thought about Bigfoots being forest ninjas. And 100% they are. And about a week ago, this video came out. Okay, a video came out of South Carolina, Alan, and it was a man in his backyard. This is from 2 years ago. This man was in his backyard filming something in the trees. Did you happen to see this video? People
Oh,
were
it was
thinking it was a
breaking the
closed
trees.
Bigfoot. Yeah.
Yeah, a ninja, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought about you. Yes. We showed that video on the show last Saturday night when I was getting kind of sick. It was when we were watching that, and my buddy Eric was on, and I was my first reaction to this video is I thought it was some owls in a tree or
Right.
something, but these limbs were breaking, like huge limbs were breaking, and I thought, man, that is well, ninjas wouldn't make that much commotion, okay, but
Unless
Bigfoots
they
would.
wanted to do it for a distraction.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think that could have been Bigfoot?
Why it has to be something like that. It could be maybe the Mothman. I mean, I didn't see what it was, but
Yeah.
if you're going by their MO, it would be them. They like to do that, break the branches and throw things, and they like to be up in the trees too. Like I get lots of reports of them up in trees. You know, in fact, that was something I was thinking about earlier when you asked me to if I could come on tonight.
Yeah.
There is one, and it was something that I haven't talked about Bigfoot very much at all. We do when we go out, we do our things, you know, that you do, and I can't really say what that is because my team might get mad at me that we do some things that's most people think that you're not supposed to or you shouldn't or whatever. But we do at night, we put out some really nice microphones, like some Shure microphones, you know, omnidirectional. And we put them like 40 feet away from where we're sleeping. And then we run that back to a soundboard and we listen and we also record what the microphones are doing. Okay. And back in the early days when we were still in a tent and not in anything substantial, we were actually sleeping in a 3-man sack lunch, right? So we had this little opening where the wires for the microphones could come through, and I had brought this little light. It was one of those solar with the sticky on it, and you put it on your garage door or something like that, you know. And it's a motion sensor, and when you walk by, it turns on and lights your path or whatever. Just a little $5 cheapo. And I had put that. We had a little table in front of our tent, and I put that there so that it would light the table, so I could make coffee, you know. And when I walked away, it would shut off. Well, I don't know what happened that night, but that was the last night that light worked. And it was the first time I used it, really. It worked for a little while, and then all of a sudden it stuck on and it wouldn't shut off. And it was on so bad that it ran the battery down, but for some reason it was on during the day too, so it never could charge. So it wiped itself out, right? Commit Harry Carey. Well,
No. Poor light.
yeah. So then that night, though, we went in and we turned on the system, and we're all got our headphones on, listening to the microphones. And we left this little where the wires come through a little slit, and you could also get up there and look and see the microphones. You could see them, especially because the light didn't go off, right? And so we're laying there and nothing's going on, and my buddy's like, "Get that freaking light and put it under your sleeping bag or something, you know, like it's lighting up the whole area. What do you think you're doing?" So right about the time right after he said that, I'm getting up. It sounds like somebody grabs the microphone, and we have the foam, and it sounds like it's holding it and going like this. And anybody that does microphones, you know what that sound is, because you have used a microphone and grabbed that little foam thing and moved it around again. You know, something was handling the foam on the microphone, and you know, we all freeze. Oh, we all hear it, and I'm still thinking about that light. Now I can, the microphones are lit up, so I'll be able to see, right? So I'm thinking, man, I'm halfway up. I'm just going to lean up and I'm going to look out that little slit and see what it is messing with the microphone. There was nothing there. I couldn't see anything, but still the sound of the microphone. And then because I looked out, I don't know if it was like mocking me or what, it actually bumped the microphone, the base of it. And everybody knows what that sound is. If you're in audio, you know, like you hit a microphone, it's like clunk, clunk. And then we heard it walk away on 2 feet, right? Boom, boom, boom. And the sound of the feet hitting the ground slowly faded away. And we were laying there, and I don't know why, but we all fell asleep. Now, what's weird about that, when we set that camp up, it was storming, it was a little bit windy, and we were setting up the tent. It was like a couple hours before dark, and a tree fell. Like we heard it like boom. Like I mean a big old pine tree, like 100-footer.
Dang.
You know, it's like, dude, hey, they really do make a sound, you know. Like, does a tree make a sound when it falls? Yeah, they do. In fact, they really do. Well, then, you know, we're like still talking about that. And then all of a sudden, boom, another one goes down in the same direction as the first one. It was like, whoa, you know. Like at first I thought maybe the storm blew it over, but 2 of them in the same direction. We got the 3-man sack lunch up, and I got my cot out and I sat down on it and was looking out the door in the direction where the trees fell. And I actually hear it, and I look up and I see the tree fall, right? I see the third one go down in about a 45-minute thing, 3 big trees, as big as phone poles, 100 feet tall. It was too dark and we wouldn't go out there. But then that night was when the microphone thing. So then the next morning, we get up and we're talking about all this stuff and how did we fall asleep, right? All that stuff going on, you're not supposed to fall asleep. You're supposed to stay awake and be afraid, but we didn't. We fell asleep like almost right away, like weird. Okay, that's weird.
That happens to us too, Alan.
We've even had lost time at that place where we're driving down there and all of a sudden we come to and we're going off the road in the car. Like, whoa, and we don't know how long that we were missing, but we went a mile, you know what I mean, on a dirt road. Well, then we decided we're going to go over and find these trees because they're all in the same place, you know, and we get over there and they're within like 12 feet of each other, like a little triangle. They're broke off at 8 to 10 feet tall, and they're as big around as a phone pole. And one of them, now we know which direction the last one fell. They all fell that direction, but one of them didn't fall that direction, or it did. And they picked it up and took like a 50-foot section of this tree, like half of it, and wedged it up in a tree. See, now where they fell was down lower than us. We were up on a little hill and it was lower. So this tree was laid up into a tree, and then all the branches are broke off and thrown in a pile next to it. All the branches are broke off and thrown in a pile. Like, that doesn't happen naturally. They're all in a pile, all the branches. And this has got no branches, just nubs where there was branches. We never heard that. But then, you know, I'm messing around and seeing if I could climb up it. And I realized when I get up there, I could see our camp perfect. I can't see it down where I'm standing because I'm lower, right? But I could climb up the tree and I can look at the camp. I was like, oh, the forest ninjas are watching us, you know, they're watching us, and they made a tree where they could climb up and look at us. That
they were riddling.
So bad.
It was like they were sitting there piddling around on that tree, pulling off branches, just watching you guys, biting the time away, just picking limbs off. And
well, after we went
so
to sleep,
dangerous.
They came in and, you know, had their way. Heck,
I mean, Alan, you guys were in a tent. You guys were in Bigfoot burritos. Okay.
Right.
And they were knocking down gigantic trees around you guys that night. I mean, that if they wanted to have hurt y'all, they would have hurt you, but they didn't.
There's like a few times that place, it's a weird place. And there was one day that 5 of us went walking down there, and we were hiking down. The activity was off the charts over the weekends, and we decided we're going to go in the midweek and hike down there and take our parabolics and all our microphones and everything and walk down there about 3 miles and then turn around and walk back out, right? Do a day trip. We got down at the bottom, and as we were going down, I heard a baby crying, just like a regular baby. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you guys, do you hear that? And I'm using the parabolic. So I recorded it, and I'm playing it back to everybody. They're like, wow, that's a baby. I wonder who's down there, you know? Don't know. And then we get down there, and we're standing there looking off over this little valley into Sequoia National Park, and King Kong roared. Now, I could feel the roar inside of me, and I heard it through the parabolic, but I was thinking that it was picking up my stomach, roar, you know, growling or something, because I felt it. I felt the roar, the vibration. And it was overpowering, but you know, I'm hoping that it's my stomach, what I heard. And I had the parabolic aimed a different way too. It's like hitting the back of it, but I still heard it and I still felt it. And then I hear the guy behind me go, "What the F," like that. I'm thinking, uh-oh, you know, I look at everybody and they're all standing there going, and then it did it again, and it roared, only this time it was closer. And I mean, it was King Kong. I was waiting to see a 30-foot gorilla come out. I mean, like, it roared 10 times. After the 5th one, we're like, everybody's cussing and we're out of there, right? We're heading out, and I can't even hardly walk, so I'm going to be behind. I think I'm going to be the guy that fends it off, and everybody else lives, and I'm going to disappear, right?
You're the
But I made
slowest
it
one
up
out of the
there,
group, right?
and one guy
You
had
gotta
come
be
back
fast.
halfway up. One guy came back and walked with me. And when we got to the top, I'm like, man, dude, that was cool. You didn't have to do that, you know? He goes, oh, don't worry. If something would have happened, you would have face planted, you know? And that would be on up the hill, you know? It was like, ah, you sucker, you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
well, that
You'd
was
trip me
nice of
down
him
and let
then.
me get eaten anyways, sucker.
Right. He meant well. He meant well. That was nice of him. But wow. I mean, being on foot. I mean, a lot of people. Not a lot of people. Let me take that back. A few people that I know, a few of my teammates, some of the guys, they have been screamed out of areas before, and you know, screamed by like a big alpha Bigfoot. Okay, like trailed them until they, you know, miles and miles into the
Right.
woods, and they basically had to run for their lives out
They
of the
probably
woods in the middle
didn't
of the
have
night.
to,
They didn't
because I
have to,
couldn't
but they
run.
did.
So I walked 3 miles with this thing yelling behind me, a
Yeah.
good half a football field. It started off more than a half a mile away, but within like seconds, we're talking like 2 minutes, it was already up to us, like a half a football field, 50 yards, 40 yards, and then roaring so loud it was blowing your hair. You know, it was like, I was scared to death, and glad I even made it to the top of the hill, and almost didn't go back in the area, but I'm stupid. I went back. You know, I'm glad I did though, but I almost didn't.
Well, you are a Bigfoot field researcher. And yeah, and Caleb, hey Caleb Jade's in the chat again. What's up, Caleb? He's talking about 411, probably missing 411. And so you got to wonder if some of these missing people are going missing because of things like this. I mean, we're talking about how we have been in hairy predicaments and we're okay. Okay, I talk about it all the time. You talk about it, but maybe not everybody's so lucky. You know,
Right.
maybe some people are not as lucky as we are, and they're unsuspecting, and they do get kidnapped by
Well,
something that screamed at them like that.
on my YouTube channel, on, I think it's called, I have a playlist called the Wayback Zone, and it has shows that we did where we interviewed Carrie Cassidy,
Yeah.
all these people, right? All these people, and also David Paulides, and it talks about, he talks about, you know, like my teacher that was missing in the book, and
Forgot about
I
that.
think we interviewed him for 2 or 3 books, different books. But if you want to hear something about, you know, his early days in the 411 thing and hear what he's what he won't say nowadays, you go back and find those. It's interesting.
Now, David Paulides, from what I've been told, was a Bigfoot field researcher too, right?
Yeah. They got DNA. They got DNA.
Wow.
Like we got DNA and it came out the same as our DNA. It was
Really?
the dad is unknown and the mom is human. And then now if you believe in the Bible, you start reading the history, you find out that the fallen ones, their whole thing was to get their seed and pollute God's people. So they took wives of whoever they wanted, right? They didn't ask. They took women that they found what they thought was fair and pretty and had babies, which were the Nephilim, right? The giants and stuff like that. But if that happened, what would their DNA be? If their DNA was that means the dad would be unknown DNA and the mom would be human. Like, is this new thing that we're discovering with DNA, or is this an ancient thing coming back? Because the Bible says in the last days, in these end times, it'll be like the days of Noah. So what was the days of Noah like? It was these Nephilim and these fallen angels and all this stuff polluting the earth so bad that he had to wipe everyone out but 6 people. Can we see that coming? Is that like it is today? Like, are we seeing that? Are we seeing this play out again? Like, I'm leaning towards we're pretty far into it. I think our governments and big, huge military industrial complex are way further than we even have a clue to.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, we've discussed the giant of Kandahar before, and that was given to me as a remote viewing target a while back, and there's definitely that data was suggesting that they went on a hunt to go take a sample. They were going to go get a sample of a giant for DNA, like cloning purposes and stuff, like for
They
cloning.
wound up with it.
Yeah,
After
something
they ate
of
a
like
whole
off
platoon of
world
people the
stuff.
first time. Like I know one of the guys that,
Yeah.
you know, and I think he's the one. He actually, me and him were talking about it before it broke on the internet and stuff. And I actually interviewed him, but he had PTSD really bad, and he was kind of freaking out about talking about it. So he got himself drunk to talk about it. Right? That was the only way they would be able to talk about it. And
the truth serum.
yeah, and but what it did is it hurt his testimony because he had a good buzz and everybody could tell.
Yeah.
And then I think he signed in with L.A. Marzulli after that, and that's when they really broke it to the internet, right? And so they all get the claim for it. But if you know who he is and you ever ask him, it was me first, and I actually broke it first. But knowing him, he's some really bad things happened to him after when that story broke. Like, he doesn't really want to talk about it anymore. Some really bad things. He doesn't want anybody to talk about it, right? Really? But only, hey, it's out there, and he's a stand-up military vet and served our country. He's a hero in my eyes, even before Kandahar Giant or anything like that. You know, he's a hero. Anybody that went out there and put their life on the line for us for whatever reason, we say freedom, I'm not so sure, but did that, is a hero.
Mm-hmm.
But only that this what do they call them, the Men in Black thing?
Yeah.
That's what possibly the people that came out and talked about that may have, from what I'm understanding, that may have happened to these guys. And you know, that kind of thing where it's a threat to your DNA, right? Future seed or whatever you want to call it, that will shut you up, you know, and it's something you can't fight.
Yeah.
So like I think it really happened. I could tell by how by talking to him and knowing him for years. I trip out because a lot of the things when you start researching it fits with the Bigfoot. I mean, almost a lot of things run parallel with those things, and I think they're from the same spirit, right? They might not be related genetically, but I think they come from the same, place, really, like dimension or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Caleb says they are back. I think you're talking about the giants stuff.
I don't
right?
think they ever left.
They never left.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever did either. I mean, we've got this whole, what do you call it, Caleb? The Shikana, I think. Almost like inner earth, I guess. And yeah, there's a whole other world underneath our feet, right?
There's a lot of information on that. Like, I don't like well, I don't mind. I don't know about you, but there's a website you can go to and look up JD. And I've been following this movement, and over the years, some people have died and other people's pick up the gauntlet, and they start doing it. So there's Exopolitics Today or something like that. You could go on there and look up the shows with JD and listen to those. And he talks about waking up the giants and interacting with these aliens, and actually what they are planning on doing here, at least from that angle, what they're planning on doing. And it seems to be lining up, right, with what we're seeing, the orbs and the ships. And now we're finding out, it could be China.
Yeah.
It's a trip.
Yeah, there's so much going on in the world right now. It's almost like it's almost like overload right now for everybody, especially for the people don't pay attention to the paranormal stuff like we do, like even the Bigfoots and the cryptid sightings and stuff. The people who have their head in the sand mostly is what I'm saying. The normies, right?
Well, you've been helping the movement quite a bit. Like I wasn't tuned into you too much, and I would listen here and there, like Adolf and lately, I don't know if it's the algorithm, because I don't really seek people out, but YouTube will just suggest shows, based on what you watch and listen to. And yours has been popping up, and I've been listening to it. I have some bone conduction headsets, so because there's so many people in here, I don't like people sneaking up on me, so I want to hear them. So I use a bone conduction, and I've been listening to you're doing really good. You're helping people wake up and having good guests and good solid information. And that's needed today, especially with all the clickbaiters and BS that's out there. There's somebody that has to be bringing stuff. That's what we were trying to do with Paranormal Central, is bring what is like out there happening all over the place to a lot of people, and letting people know what's going on with it, and not fluffing it, like some people do, like the cable companies. They fluff it.
Yeah.
They'll take your story, and then they'll say you're going to be on TV, and then a year goes by, and then all of a sudden you're on TV, and you're like, that's not how I said it. Like, hey, he put the first part of the story at the end and the end at the first, and hey, they cut it all up, and they made a different story than what you said. And that's aggravating, But luckily, if you have an audience on YouTube, you can get on there and say, that ain't what happened. This is what happened.
Well, that's why thank you, Alan. That is such a compliment, and I am so honored to even have you on my show. And I love that. Thank you so much. I'm thrilled that you're here too, and that means the world to me that you said that. I just turned the live button on, and I go live, and it's truth, no chaser. Okay, we put the truth out there. We don't fluff things up, and not everything is a Dogman attack, and people are getting ripped to shreds every show. Okay. So,
well, it's the people that the guests you're having there. That's like their forte or their interest, and they're digging there, and they probably know more than most people about it.
I try to bring
they have on, right?
Yeah, well, you know what, the wonderful thing is that I've been Bigfooting for a long time, so like I'm not I'm personally not a podcaster that wants to go Bigfooting or wants to know about Bigfoot. I'm a Bigfooter who accidentally got into podcasting. I didn't mean to do this. Okay. And so I've got a lot of experience under my belt when it comes to Bigfoot research and cryptid field research in general. And so that's what makes it so fun was I like to bring people on, not only my friends that I research with, but people like yourself that have been in it a long time. And we can relate to each other in a really cool way. And some of the best people I've ever met in my life are Bigfoot field researchers.
Yeah.
Down to earth, fun. Most of us have a really good sense of humor because we're out there chasing a monkey in the woods, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, not a monkey. I mean, I know it's a joke.
Well,
I
it
say
seems
that
like a
joke
monkey
again.
sometimes.
Yeah, right.
In fact, that's what you think when you first go. That's what the narrative is, right? It's just a primate monkey, and you go out there and you do all the things to catch a primate monkey. And then it's working, and you keep doing it because the monkey's reacting. And then all of a sudden it does something monkeys can't do, like shut your camera off. You're like, what? How do you do that? And then it happens again and again and again. And they're like, then you think, man, I am so pro. I bought a bunch of game cameras and put them up there, and it messes with your game cameras. Like we put a pile of apples. We know they're right there. They love apples. We leave apples. So we put 3 game cameras, all where you could see each game camera in the other game camera, and put a pile of apples on the ground.
Yeah.
Loose apples. They have the little sticker on them. So then when we go get the SD cards out of the camera, we don't realize we change them, change the batteries, then go back to the 5-mile hike back to the truck, and we're looking at it, and we realize that there's like 10 just pure black pictures on each camera at the same time. So there's apples in every picture, there's birds, deer, cows, all this stuff. Nobody touches the apples. That's kind of weird, but nobody touches them. Then there's 10 black pictures on all the game cameras at the same time. And then when they all start working at the same time and taking a picture of a rabbit or whatever, right, a bird, the apples are gone.
Oh.
And we didn't even realize that. We saw the apples were gone, but we didn't realize the cameras are off. So then we take off back to the cameras, as fast as we could go. And we get over there looking for any kind of evidence of the apples, apple cores. We're going to try to get some DNA or something. There's all the stickers of the apples in a little bitty pile where the apple pile was.
No.
Okay, now, no other animal besides us can get the sticker off and pile them up like that, first of all. And then second, how did they make all the cameras? They sat right there and ate them and pulled the stickers and threw them down in a pile while the game cameras are taking pictures, but it was all black pictures. Like, they're amazing. And then after that, the camera worked perfect. It took video, it took pictures. I mean, they do stuff. They're not a monkey. That turns out they're not a monkey, right?
They're not a primate in the woods. It's an ongoing joke because we kind of joke around about, we're just out there chasing a big primate around the woods. No, we're not. No, I knew that from the first time I ever went out Bigfooting. Yeah. This was more than a primate, a big old Gigantopithecus or whatever people said, it's not that at all. And there's something supernatural about it. And we call it the X factor. Okay, because we still don't know what it is.
Right.
Okay, we still don't. We still don't know what's going on.
You learned a little bit from that book about how the babies grow up really fast and how they have like different dimensions and portals and stuff. So we're learning, if they're monkeys, they're really smart monkeys. Yeah,
they're smart monkeys.
So we learn, a little bit. And I think sometimes they teach us while we're out there running around like idiots. One of the things I found, and a lot of people make fun of it, a lot of the Bigfoot community make fun of it now, because I think there's some big names in the Bigfoot world that they like say, oh, that's Finding Bigfoot stuff. We were actually doing it before Finding Bigfoot was a show, right? But we're out there like when we started doing the internet, we actually wanted to share what we were finding. We weren't podcasters either, right? But we're like finding out some really cool stuff, and we want to share it with everybody. Basically, that's how we started. Well, we go out there and bang on a tree with a bat. And within 15 minutes or less, they will either start hollering or they'll bang back and match us beat for beat, right? And then later on that night, they might stop, and then you don't hear anything. You think, oh, they went away. You go put your club away. But then that night, you'll hear the samurai chatter talking. You'll hear them coming up, and then they start throwing pebbles at your tent and messing around with the stuff in your camp. And so, like they're a trip. So a little bit by little bit, they teach you stuff, but don't ever stop beating on the trees. That's actually how, like, if they don't know you're there, one mountain range over, they'll hear you and they'll know you're there. They know it's not them. Of course, they're not that stupid, and don't feel stupid going out and banging on the tree and letting them know you're there. Just be ready for when they come in. And if you never saw one before, you never encountered one, you might be in for a shock of your life,
You know what I do now, Alan? I actually take battery-powered twinkle lights and I put them out. I don't know how my team feels about that. I mean, they're totally fine with it, of course, I'm sure, but I like to draw attention to myself when I'm out there at night. And so I put twinkle lights up around my tent, and I don't have them blinking. They don't blink. They're not annoying. Okay. They're just out there. It looks like Christmas lights, like white twinkle lights. Cool. And I feel like it calls them in. And sometimes I'll put like a glow stick hanging from my awning tent. I have like an awning tent that goes beside my tent and or on top of my tent. And I'll hang a glow stick out there. So that way it serves two purposes. It will bring the Bigfoots in at night. Okay. Because it'll be curious as to what's going on over there. But also it puts a shadow out there. So it'll cast their shadow. Oh. So if something comes between my tent and that glow stick, I'm going to see it at night. So it's just a good pro tip. If you guys are out there doing some Bigfoot research,
we had something that worked every time, right? Every time. And we call them motions, but they're motion sensors. And it's like the kind that turns on the lights outside, or the door opens, But we have these little motion sensors like on a yard light, but we put one on each side of whatever we're sleeping in, on each side, about 4 or 5 feet away from where we're sleeping. And then each one is correspondent to a little red light. And when something sets it off, the little light will blink. And you could even have it go beep, beep, beep to wake you up if you want. We don't have that. We just let the light blink, keep an eye on it, But that works. That has worked all the time. And we've even had one, like I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and we were on the Thule reservation, which has the painted rocks of the whole family of Bigfoot there. And we got invited by the tribe to go camp with them. And I got up in the middle of the night, full moon, and I'm doing my thing, and I look up just to look around, and there's this huge Bigfoot. It looks like a silhouette, and we're under these big giant old oaks, like 200-year-old oak trees, and they're huge, right? Massive oak trees. And I could see its perfect outline because the moon was lighting up the terrain behind it, but we're in the shade of the oak. So, but you could see him perfect outline, and he's just going like this and looking at me. And he was only like 30 feet, and he was big. He was probably like around 8.5, 9 feet tall, really wide. I couldn't see muscles or anything. All I could see was outline. I freaked out. I peed all over myself trying to get back in the tent. I made all kinds of noise, and I got in the tent, and I'm laying there, and then I hear my nephew get up, and I could hear him, and he's bumping around. He's going to do the same thing as me, And he gets outside, and all of a sudden you hear all this cussing and fumbling around with the tent and everything. And he's back in. And then I fell asleep. It was one of those things where I would have never fell asleep knowing that something is, just right outside the tent. But right before I fell asleep, that sensor went off on that side of the tent. So I knew for sure what I saw was really there. And then behind us, that sensor went off. So then there was 2 of them going off on each side of the tent. I totally was freaked out. I would not went to sleep. But then the next thing I know, I'm waking up. And nobody else woke up. But I asked my nephew, hey, what happened? And he started telling me, he described exactly what I saw. And he did exactly what I did, peed all over your feet and almost tore the tent down trying to get in it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's wild. It sounds like something that's happened to us before. And you would, when you were talking about the recording devices earlier, I started thinking, the first Bigfoot conference I ever went to was I think it was in 2012, right after I started Bigfooting. And I got to meet Ron Moorhead and R. Scott Nelson. And the head of my team was speaking there too. And I made some great friends back then. And I got to know Ron a little bit, and I know him now. Okay, but I just found it was just so fascinating, and I learned about his Sierra sounds. Did that inspire you at all to do the hanging the recording devices up, or were you even aware of that about what he had done when you started doing your Bigfoot research?
I was aware of him. He's a good friend. He's a good friend. In fact, we interviewed him probably like half a dozen times, him and his daughter, and I've been out to his ranch and when he lived around here. I think he moved away, but he's like so cool, very highly intelligent. And the way he comes at things, he's like one of the smartest guys I know, I think, about with quantum, like his last book, Quantum Bigfoot.
My favorite book.
The dude's smart, But yeah, he helped because we would hear things that you thought when you came out that everything was destroyed, your car, everything, but then nothing was even touched. And when you talk to him, that happened to them. They would be in their little shelter, and it sounded like everything, the pots and pans, the whole camp was being destroyed. And when they went out, it was all there. Everything was not even touched. But how did they do that? How did they make the sounds? Like, I mean, I don't even think he knows yet, unless it's quantum, right? Somehow quantum.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool guy.
Cool guy. That is. I highly recommend that book, you guys. If you want to understand Bigfoot the way that I understand Bigfoot, read Quantum Bigfoot. Okay, because I told Ron, I was like, if I were to write a book on Bigfoot, it would have been that book. It would have been, you already wrote it for me. Okay.
Really, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's textbook, like what I understand Bigfoot to be from my research. Okay. So
then you have the comment about the whistling.
Yes, I saw that.
I'm a whistler. I like to whistle. And especially when I'm alone and I'm nervous, I whistle.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I learned there's 2 things you don't do. You don't shine flashlights at UFOs, and you don't whistle in the woods. You don't. And if you find out, the tribal members will tell you of the different tribes, don't whistle, because almost every mask they have, it's a whistle. It's the thing whistles. The lips are in a whistle. And you don't, that is like even faster than banging on a tree, get their attention, but they know it's not them. They know it's somebody, but not them.
Mm-hmm. No, we try not to whistle in the woods. I do have one team that's a little that pushes the envelope, and those are my guys up in Tennessee. Cryptid Warfare, CW Operators and Survival. Shout out to Drewski and all the guys with that team. We did that. I'm going to call it the S Walker. I'll say it one time, Skinwalker Cave up in Tennessee, and the guys went. We were exploring the cave in this lady's backyard. Shout out to Farah, by the way, too. And it's her house. She's moved since then. A couple of months after we did this investigation, she and her husband moved. This place was wild. But the guys went way farther back in the cave than I was willing to go. I mean, it was like a really big, deep cave. A lot of strange activity going on in there. And when they got in the back, one of the guys decided he was going to whistled in the cave, and something peeked its head around the corner, and it looked like a pale crawler back there. And they had it on video. Yeah, they had their phone out videoing it. So
I've been talking to some people about that lately. That some people that you know how it is when you're in this world, people get a hold of you and want to tell their story. And I've actually got a couple of those creepy crawly pale thing where, I mean, these people are telling me they're deadly and they eat people, and they're coming out because, from what I understand, they're blowing up the tunnels and saving the children, and these things live there but coexist with all the other bad stuff that happens there. But when they're blowing them up and clearing them out, and these things are kind of forced out, and that's why everybody's seeing them. That's what they're telling me. And they're like nasty, nasty, nasty. They will eat you, from what I understand.
Everything will eat you out there.
Right.
Like, everything will eat you. I mean, I hope that I don't get eaten, but it is part of the dangers of doing what we do out in the field. So that's why I always have a good team around me, and we're all ready to. I mean, they don't know if we won't eat them, though. You know what I mean? They should be scared of us too. I'm just saying.
I want to ask a question.
Okay.
I seen something with a friend that I don't know what it is, and it was huge. And I was wondering if you might be able to remote view it and see maybe if you can figure out what it is. Well, it was around 25 feet. It would be 25 feet tall if it was standing up, but it was flying. And it looked like the body of a Bigfoot, like hair covered. But the eyes were like 2 feet in diameter, maybe a little bit bigger, but it looked like red velvet. The eyes, so they didn't have pupils. It was just like red velvet looking, and it was flying, and it had wings probably 20 feet on each side, but they're real narrow. Like, so this thing's really huge, big, and it had these little skinny little wings off to the side that never flapped. And the leading edge was straight, but the back edge was scalloped, like bat kind of wings. And they were totally black, but it was brown, and it had these big old huge red eyes. And me and a friend saw it, and it turned back, and it was looking at us like I pulled out a camera and some binoculars, and as soon as I did that, it turned and looked, and it was looking at me, and my buddy was yelling, "It's looking at you, not me, looking at you." Like, it freaked him out so bad. He didn't want it looking at him, right? But I knew it was looking at me because I had the binoculars right on its face. Actually, it wasn't on its face. It was like on the front part of, but when it turned and it was right on its face, it was looking at me, and then it flew off, but its wings never flapped. It was huge, like really big. I never heard of anything like that. I never saw anything like that again. Now, I was listening to some of your remote viewing, I thought, man, maybe she might be able to figure that out.
Yeah, that is going to go in the list of remote viewing targets. We're going to bring you back on a remote viewing show one night on a Thursday, and we'll go over that, because that sounds fascinating. It almost sounds like a Mothman or something, but it sounds gigantic. I mean, that is huge.
It was huge. It had like a rounded head that just ended in its shoulders, no neck, and it was 25 feet easy, like as big as a Cessna airplane. It was crazy big, scary.
Wow. I've never heard of it.
Watched it when we first saw it. My buddy saw it first. He's like, "Hey, look, it's a what do they call those things where a cylinder or something like that, but a cigar-shaped craft. That's what he's like, look, it's a cigar-shaped craft. But we couldn't see the wings because they were so little and thin. All we seen was this brown turd looking thing flying at us, right? And we were watching it like, man, dude, it's getting bigger. Yeah, wow. Then it got really close, like, whoa, it has wings. Like, whoa.
Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna go get my binoculars and a camera, right? And then it flew off, but it never flapped its wings ever. It was flying 500 feet off the ground and just gliding, no sound.
Wow.
You know, I thought it might have been radio controlled till it turned its head and its whole body moved. And it actually turned its wings like this to kind of grab the air and slow down. And that's when I knew it was something real and alive. You know, it freaked me all out real bad.
That would freak anybody out. Sounds like a giant with wings.
I was thinking a demon, but
Demon. I'm thinking demon too.
Chimera or something. I don't know.
Where was this in California?
Yeah. It was in town. It was flying right over town, right over the middle of town. And we're talking about a pretty big city. You know, there's like, I don't know, 500,000 or 600,000 people or something with freeways. I mean, like, we're talking a big city. It was going right over the top of it. And we were right in the middle. And standing there talking, and here comes this brown cigar-shaped thing at first.
Oh, well, it's like a mix. Yeah, it does sound demonic, but I think that is worth looking into for sure. I have done some really interesting remote viewing targets on stuff that I never heard of before, like horse humanoids and things like that. Actually, my show got shut down one night. My internet it was this is the wildest thing. I had my friend Jeremiah Fountain, who will be coming on the show here this month. He's up in New York, and he's a Bigfooter as well. And he's had a lot of interesting experiences with Bigfoot and Dogman. On it, he has Bigfoots that live on his property, actually, up in the Adirondacks. And I guess he gave me there was a target that he gave me to look into, and it was some kind of creature that his dad's neighbor, I think, like their family property, their neighbor encountered this like horse man. It was like a horseman, and it was gigantic. I think it was like a humanoid that had a horse head or something like that. And I had remote viewed this thing, and we were online.
It was real.
It was
Chimera,
real.
right?
It was a chimera. That's right. It was some kind of a chimera. I think it came from some kind of experiment,
right?
Probably from an underground facility or something. And it was, I guess he called into the authorities, and when he called it in, they came and got it on a flatbed truck, put it on there, and the man was never the same ever again after that. They said that his hair turned white, and like he was never the same after this incident. After he saw this big gigantic horse humanoid thing, and the community saw it too. Whoa. And so here I am doing a remote viewing show on it. I've got Jeremiah and my friend Barry on there, and we're, an hour into the show, and I had just gone over all my data, and my internet shut down at home, and the show kept going with the two gentlemen, but it completely shut off, and it was wild because I called my internet provider. And I couldn't get in. My phone wasn't working. I couldn't get the internet on my phone to work. I couldn't get the internet on my computer to work. The house, like nothing was working. And they said, well, the internet's out on your street. And they're like, wait a second, it's just at your house. It's not on your street. And it's not because I didn't pay my bill. It had been cut. They had cut my internet off during my show. And I don't know, it was like some kind of remote thing. I don't know what happened. But it eventually came back on.
I was telling you about that. We've had run-ins with the guys in the white vans.
Yeah, it was something like that.
The black SUVs. We have run-ins with those guys too, where I've actually had videos wiped off of my computer, and I leave my computer off because of that now. And now I even move things to another hard drive not associated with my computer at all, because somehow they're able to delete shows or interviews or things I record off my computer. and I don't know how they do it. And so then I would record, you put it on your hard drive. Well, then I put 6 hard drives in my computer, and I started saving stuff to other hard drives, and they would even access it. Those, like, how do they even find them? There's like 14 terabytes on here. How do they know to go through all that and find that one thing? How do they do that? So now I have about 8 terabytes that I download from my PC over to this standalone hard drive, and then I unplug it from the computer.
But don't give away your secrets.
They haven't got those, right? They haven't got those. But only it drove me to extremes so that things like that didn't happen. And I've had my cell shut off. I've got phone calls from people saying stuff to me. I got invited to a meeting at a hamburger joint with all these scientists, NASA scientists and stuff like that. And they wanted to meet me, and they're all like real highly intelligent. And one of them was, one of the famous families, in the military industrial complex. And he was showing me his truck he just bought. Now, this is like 8 years ago. And he's showing me a Ford F-350 that he bought that was older with points. And he was telling me, hey, man, you need to get a car with points and not electronic ignition. In the future, some things are going to happen. It's going to shut all the electrics off, but you'll be able to drive around if you have points. And I was like, oh, wow. That was the first time I heard of that.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but only these things, when you start going down these trippy, what you think is maybe even outlandish, but there's something to it.
Mm-hmm.
They're desperate to shut some people up or make it hard for you.
Yes, that's true. But you know what? I don't know. For whatever reason, I mean, I talk about a lot of weird stuff. I guess I'm allowed to do it. I don't work for anybody except for God. Okay. And myself over here. And so you can't have fear. Like, I'm not kidding when I tell the audience, like, don't live in fear. It's from living in fear that keeps people quiet, and I'm not scared. Okay, this is going to sound horrible. I'm not scared to die. I'm really not. I feel like I've died a million times already this lifetime. Okay. And so we can't sit around living in fear about stuff. I have a healthy dose of respect for myself and for, the people that came before me and the people who taught me remote viewing and all that kind of stuff. So I know my limits, my boundaries. I'm not really limited.
I already died, and I came back, and I'm not afraid of death. Now I think of it like, what are they going to do to me? Kill me? Like,
I know, it's like
a good thing.
I'll come back. I'm going to come back.
You're going somewhere that's way better than here, way more cool. I mean, it's cool to live and build relationships and everything that you're going to carry with you on the other side. But I mean, if they cut you short here, all they're doing is sending you over there. And it ain't bad.
It's just going to make me stronger. We're going to come. Listen, I have a lot of friends and family that have passed away, and I call them my goon squad. Okay. On the other side. So they're helping from the other side. That's what I always like to think. Okay. And so that's how, you can't have fear. You can't have fear when you're doing stuff that we're doing right now.
Yeah. And, no fear here. What are you going to do? Kill me?
Fear.
I
know. It's like,
that's the worst they could do to me. Right.
That's the worst case scenario, right? And if you're not scared of that, then you're unstoppable.
That's right. Okay?
So
the only way we could get me is start talking about down, your family generations, like not like trying to end that, where you can't carry on, your family line doesn't carry on. That would be the only thing that would make me stop and pause. Like, well, you better be stronger than God because He's going to stop you. I'm going to pray against you. So far, my prayers are pretty strong. It protects me from all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. You're protected.
I think everyone is, if they want to.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. And I'm just, like I always say, I'm just having fun. And I didn't set up on like a mission to be like, I'm going to expose this and that. And I'm just telling my story. And like I said, I never meant to be a podcaster. This was an accident. It fell in my lap. I ended up doing it. I thought I'd give it a try when somebody offered me an opportunity, and here I am today. And so I know that I'm here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So,
I actually thought about
yeah.
quitting because there's so many people. Like when I first started, there was hardly anybody, and it was fun. You know what I mean? But now it's almost like you're a person in a big whole huge giant crowd that everybody has to select from, and it's
Right.
not as fun anymore. You know, it's like, do I have to try to do this now? You know, like to get past everyone, do I have to start working, make it a job? You know, and I'm not looking for a job no more, really. I'm just looking to share everything and have fun with everybody, and so I'm going to keep doing it
Yeah.
just to do that. And I don't care how big it grows or if it grows or what. I'm just having fun, and like I always did, and I'm just keep doing that.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm
Yeah.
doing. And yeah, listen, when I got into this podcasting thing, I was having a great time. And then there's people that see you doing it and they want to smush you down. And because it is a very competitive sport.
It is.
Okay. But I'm not competing with anybody. That's why I don't compete. You know, I try to lift everybody up.
I
And,
totally
and like
work
I
it out
said,
with my
yeah,
manager. No, I don't have a manager. You know.
I need a manager one day. I just need somebody to help me answer emails, Alan.
Yeah,
Okay, like that's my thing. I can't even answer emails. So I
I'm
apologize to
bad.
everybody who sent me emails, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm
I'm
trying.
really bad at that, and my Facebook, and like I think I have, I don't know, thousands of friends, right? And yeah, I can't keep up with it, and I don't even try, and I don't even lie to people and tell them I'll get to it, even, because I probably won't. And what some people don't understand is things get buried real fast. Like if I don't catch it in the first 24 hours or 48, like the first 48, it's gone because I'll never get past that first 48 of.
Right.
And the more people that add in that first 48, that just pushes them farther away from me even seeing it. And it isn't because I'm intentionally, what everybody thinks, ignoring them. It's because when you have 300 or 400 people shoot you something in one day, every day, whoever was the first guy, I'll probably never see that one. Like I might even not get past the first 50. And then the rest of them are just out there in La La Land somewhere. I don't know where.
Yeah. I mean, you had a big old show too. Paranormal Central. I couldn't remember the last part of it.
Yeah.
Paranormal Central, and you actually aired your show before Art Bell show. Like, how
Yeah.
huge is that?
It
That
was
is
really
huge.
fun.
Yeah. That's. I mean,
What's
that's.
cool is like there we had a producer, right? Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Producer.
the Dark Matter Network had a
Yeah.
producer, and we would had to go through him to get on in the Dark Matter Network. Go through him, and he would tell us like we were the show before Art Bell, right before. So we did it every week when Art Bell did his show. We were the first one, and then as we went out, we get to chat with Art Bell sometimes, right? Because he's coming on now. After we're closing, he's going on. So sometimes we would meet in the back there and talk. But it was so fun because the producer would tell you, hey, the TuneIn app, you guys are tracking number one for the last like 6 months out of all the searches and everything. You have like 275,000 followers and stuff like that. And it was like, wow, had no idea. But he has all that stuff tracking it through his little network thing, right? I never saw the numbers. I was just going by what he says, and it was so cool. It was cool to be able to chit chat with Art Bell every so often, and especially just be there. Like I always thought he was like the father of the paranormal. Like he used to scare the shit out of me. And like I lived in the mountains and had a 20-acre ranch, and I would come home from the casino like 2 a.m, 3, 4 a.m, and then have to get out and open a gate and then drive through the gate and then get out and close the gate and then drive another mile to my house. Holy smokes. I'm gonna tell you right now, there were some times I burned rubber through there, like running, close the gate, open the gate, and get back in the truck and be so scared. And don't know why I didn't turn off the radio, but I was glued, freaked.
Oh my gosh, you let those shows scare you. I mean, I can't say I didn't feel the same way because I would lay in bed at night listening to Art Bell and George Norrie, okay, and yeah, in the dark. That was the best time to listen to it, is the middle of the night. I mean, I'm all the way over on the East Coast. It was way late for me. If I listened to them, it was in the middle of the night, okay, and the witching hour, okay, when the ghosts were out there trying to get me, okay, and I'm laying in bed. So so it was a little scary, but man, I gotta admit, okay.
What's scary about it is he was talking about things I had already encountered sometimes. And then they're talking about how evil and it eats you and all this stuff. And I'm like, what? It might be following me. Oh my God.
It's gonna get your feet. It's gonna grab your ankles when you get back in the truck. Okay.
Drive off with your feeling. Run you over with it.
Oh my gosh. Well, you mentioned having a producer. I can't lie. I had a producer. My first time, I would have never, ever been able to ever. I wouldn't have ever even considered doing a podcast had I not had some coaxing. I say coaxing by Bill from KGRA Digital Broadcasting. He's the one that asked me to do my first show. He was a producer there, and he convinced me. He was like, "I'll take care of everything. You just come and interview people, do a show." And so I got my start there, and he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot and set the base tone there for me doing what I had to do. What I started doing. I started off doing it for fun. I was almost like a joke. I was like, "There's no way I don't know what I'm doing."
Yeah, and all the people out there, like, what could we bring what could you bring that's different than everyone else that already did, right?
Oh, that was wild.
You know what I found? I think what I found is the topic it brings everybody, but after a while, it's not really the topics anymore. It's so much as the people identify with you and they like you. And you could stop doing probably whatever you're doing, and as long as you're coming on regularly, they'll come and hang out with you, and you can talk about just about anything, and everybody's going to like it because they like you, right? And they like hanging out with you. And it's not real hard to find a couple of 100,000 people out of 300 million. When you start looking at percentages, and I'm the casino percentage guy, and like the life of a slot machine is 16 billion bets, and then it turns over, right? Well, how many slot machines are there, and how many people are playing them, and how many people are doing podcasts, and how many people are potentially watching, and how many potentially would like you? And it would be pretty easy for 200,000 people to like you easily. That's just easy numbers. That's hardly any kind of odds at all, really low. And now to get 8 million, or you start getting up into the 100 million or 10 million or 50 million, now you're talking about you'd have to work probably. You didn't just be you'd have to have some kind of plan. But for a couple hundred people, 100,000, I don't think so. I think anybody could get on as long as they're regular, consistent. They don't do anything to break the rules and play nice. I think anyone could probably get a following pretty easy.
Yeah, it takes a little while. It does. But here's the thing. Authenticity, man. Just be yourselves. Anybody that's out there that wants to do, because Alan and I both I'm not an old pro at this point, not at all. I'm still new to all this. Okay, but
so much shows. That's a pretty good little start, I'd say.
It's okay. It's okay. I got a few shows under my belt, and I've been at KGRA Digital Broadcasting, Spaced Out Radio. I did a show there for 2.5 years, and now I'm here on my own. Yeah, with Dave. Cool. Yeah, I did weekend shows there for 2.5 years. So it's a lot of fun, but you guys here, the key is just having something you're passionate about. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be Barbie dolls. It could be dinosaurs. It could be mud fossils. It could be light bulbs. Who knows? But as long as you love what you do, put your all into it, have fun with it. And if you build it, they will come. Right, Alan?
That's true.
Yeah.
And, you have to do a little bit with the algorithms, but all
You
you
gotta
really,
learn.
once you're in front of everybody and you start getting in front of people, they'll either like you or not like you. And that doesn't matter what you're talking about, what you're doing. People will either like you or not like you. The ones that don't like you, they want to give you 2 seconds. They make it, 2 seconds is about how long it takes somebody to judge somebody. And if they stay for a half an hour, they're almost going to be back every half hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we happen to have some really good conversations over here on over on my channel, and you have a great channel too over at Squatch Zone. My goodness, your archives are just outrageously amazing. By the way,
That isn't even all of them.
gosh,
They've deleted and they won't let me put some on, and that's barely what they'll let me. And I'm shadow banned like crazy. Like they smush me. I lose more subscribers daily than I gain usually. Like I had like 12,000 some odd, and now I'm down to, I was almost under 8,000 here. And it almost like made me quit, because back in the day, we had to spend a lot of money, camera equipment and microphones, and you couldn't just bust out your cell phone and do any kind of good video like today. Like we're talking about 8 or 10 years ago, barely, when like the internet's like new, right? Even YouTube was almost like brand new when we got on it. Hardly anybody was on it. But now anybody you can just have a phone, and that's it, really. You can just go out and you can do something a couple of times a week for an hour or 2 hours or 30 minutes or 10 minutes. As long as you are consistent with that part, you're going to build a following. But only if you break the rules like I did. And it was actually how they got me was we were talking about these topics before they were taboo topics. Like we could talk about stuff, and everybody's like, man, that was great information. Well, then all of a sudden the AI came in here recent, and they started censoring, and they started deleting videos. Like if I didn't have a backup of the video and it was just on the YouTube server, they decided that video couldn't exist in YouTube universe, and they just delete it. And I had like 150 videos they decided had to be deleted, and I only had maybe 5 of them backed up, because I didn't. After a while, after 10 years of weekly shows and all this stuff, you don't have enough hard drives to hold all of that information. Like there's terabytes of shows, and the longer they are, and the better 4K, 10K, all this stuff, the more Ks they are, the more big they are, like it's crazy. So now I quit backing them up. If they disappear, they disappear. They're just on YouTube. If YouTube doesn't like it and they unalive it forever, then it's just unalive forever. What can you do?
that's so sad. That's really a shame that it's just at a click of a button, everything can be erased, and that's really sad that it's come to this. It really is, and that's why I back up all of my shows. All of my shows are on Rumble, everybody. Okay, so I have every show. Yeah, it's important to have backup, to save your shows, put them on multiple platforms. Even this show right now is going to be airing tonight on podcasting platforms. As soon as we get done with the show tonight, I always upload all of my shows straight to Spreaker, and they're distributed out to all the podcasting platforms, because at least it'll be somewhere. Okay, it doesn't have to be on YouTube. At least they're somewhere so people can get the information and have a good laugh and learn something, maybe. Okay, somewhere. And everywhere, but it's really a shame that it's come to that.
I'm gonna think. I never thought of that. I'm always like,
yes,
one of my jobs in the casino was, as a computer director, was making sure there was a backup of all the machines, all the activity of the casino every day. I had to make 2 backup copies. One would go off the property in case the property burned, and then we'd have one on the property just in case the one off the property burned, right? So we had 2 backups of all the casino activity that day, 24 hours a day. And that was part of my responsibility, is make sure that was backed up and it was a good copy, you know. So I understand about backing up, but after a while, for me, it's like, I'm old. I don't care. I'm just going to put them on there. I'm going to talk about anything. You know, I hate that I might step on people's toes or say things they don't like, but I'm just old and I'm going to talk about what's happening with me in my world. And that's pretty much, you know, Bigfoots and all that, everything, you name it. I'm talking about God. I'm talking about leather, knives, guns, you know, but that's what gets me in trouble with YouTube.
Oh yeah, I know about that. Oh, I'm not going to go there. Yeah. A while back, my son accidentally uploaded a video of his, because he likes to make videos, but they're private because he's a kid. Not to my personal email. He sent it to my Cryptid Huntress one, and he was out playing around in the woods with, let's just say they took the video down, and I almost got in a little bit of trouble. Okay, so anyways, we won't go there for that. But yeah, YouTube, you don't even have to publish something. It could
Right.
just be uploaded to your channel, but it's not public, and you get in trouble for a video, like if it goes against their standards or whatever, by their terms or whatever. So it is odd. That's why I back up everything on a platform that doesn't censor.
I've nearly lost the channel like 3 times. And then
Yeah.
we actually had a Paranormal Central channel, right?
Yeah.
And I had got most of the subscribers once I created the other channel. I was doing 2. I was doing Paranormal Central, and then I have my own channel that is Squatch Zone, and I was backing up everything from Paranormal Central to Squatch Zone. And sometimes the Paranormal Central one wouldn't get the video, but I would always make sure I backed it up to the Squatch Zone. And then we lost the Paranormal channel.
Oh no.
Completely. They totally unalived that one.
Unalived.
And then they unalived some Facebook stuff. Like your whole profile, all your friends, everything gone. Everything. Just because of what you posted on YouTube, right? It was almost like everything was talking, and you stepped in it in one place, and then they were punishing you all the way across all the social media networks. And I almost quit because of it. It was ridiculous. I didn't want to play. I don't want to play nice. I want to play where you can talk about anything you want. Right. We have rights in our country that you don't have in other countries. And I've been in the other countries. In fact, I just did a video where I talk about some experiences in Africa that I think were teaching me some things about what's happening today. So, and I don't say Africa in the title. I just say where are we with 2025 or something like that. I mean, I don't even do the algorithm on my titles because I don't want to draw no attention to myself, or they're going to delete me for some stupid flippant thing, that you don't even know it's against the rules till after they're already punishing you and shutting you off.
Yeah.
So I don't play. I just put whatever, and if it winds up shut off, it's shut off. But I'm not going to try to lure or bait click or anyone, I'm going to put whatever's on there, and if they're tuning in, they know what it was about, right? If I'm going to give something away, I'm not ever putting that in the title, because then the scammers come. You put giveaway, and all of a sudden everybody's over there, and all they're there is to scam everybody in your chats and stuff like that. So you'll only hear me say those words in the video. And I am getting ready to give away some stuff here pretty soon, the next couple of months. A custom hand-tooled leather knife and sheath. So the knife will be something I buy, but the sheath will be all custom handmade, and probably with a Squatch on it or something like that, right?
Oh my God.
Give that away, yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Let us know.
Tell everybody, but I'm not gonna. You'll never see it in a chat, so you can't just think you're gonna sneak on by me and then look and go, "Oh, there's no giveaway there." It probably done happened, and you never saw it happen because you didn't watch video.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Let us know if you're going to do a giveaway. We'll announce it over here and send everybody over. You have beautiful, beautiful craftsmanship. And yeah, tooled leather. That's one of my favorite things. And it's super impressive. And I love how it's so creative. You know, that's what the world needs right now, more creative stuff and art and beautiful things put out into this world. And so you're doing just that. And I love it. Don't let the algorithms ever stop you either from doing what you do. Okay. And
Right.
like putting your shows out. If you need, listen, I know a little bit about this stuff. I can always help if you need anything.
Okay.
Okay. Some advice or whatever. I'm learning the ropes and I'll teach you what I know. Okay. If you need,
I
if you need
pretty much
anything.
haven't. I once they started like hammering me from past stuff, and that's where they hit me first, was things that were 8 years old on there, you know, and all of a sudden I'm getting told I can't post anything, I can't this, I can't upload, I can't. It's like, for what, right? What did I do? But then they don't really spell it out exactly what you did, right? You just
Yeah.
broke the standards, community standards and stuff like that. But then when you start digging and trying to email people and find out, then you find out that they have this, what they say in their standards, they're laying it out, but only they can make that whatever it is. They can make it say anything. Like all they have to
Yes,
do
that's
is
true.
put like a word that is covers several words or meanings, but then they can zero it in on any of those meanings and they can knock you out with it, you know, completely knock you out, threaten you. But they were like just taking videos down and then say, oh, well, this video, we decided this video, gone. And then they don't even tell you what video. So then you're going through your list of 500 videos trying to figure out what was the 10 videos they just took out, you know. But then how I found out more was people started emailing me saying, hey, why'd you unsubscribe me? Like, I didn't unsubscribe you.
Yeah.
I don't care. You can go on my thing and cuss me out and call everybody names. I'm not going to unsubscribe you. I
Gosh.
think you're reflecting what you are, and everybody's going to see it for that, right? I don't have to do anything.
Yeah. People, it
But
could be
I'm not unsubscribing you. If you're being unsubscribed, it's something going on with
with
the
that.
with YouTube, yeah, or you know, you
Mhm.
almost hate to even say that name. You know what I mean? Like they scare you, they put you in fear to where
Right.
like, I'm not on my channel, I'm on yours, so I got to be careful. You know what I say? I don't want to hurt your channel. Yeah.
No, we're good. We're good over here. You know, I was actually just thumbing through. We had a bunch of questions in the chat throughout the show today, and I starred a couple of them. I starred a couple, or just comments really. And since it's Adolf's birthday tonight, Adolf wanted. Okay, first of all, he said maybe some Bigfoots don't have hair. Just thought being called giants. Okay, maybe they're giants that are actually Bigfoots that don't have hair. It's a funny
That's
thought
true.
like that. But here's Sovereign. Ask Alan about the past reports of Sasquatches riding trains. What
They
what's that about? Is that real?
they're
Are they're
known for
hopping on
that. Like
trains?
I've interviewed several people that work on trains
Okay.
in the Siskiyous and northern Oregon, Northern California, all the way through Washington, and I think even Canada. I've never talked to anybody in Canada, but if they have trains, then they are. And actually, that's like a thing where these things hop rides on the trains, and a lot of times the people on the train will see them more than anyone because the tracks cut through the wilderness and they're not by the highway, they're just wilderness, and they see them a lot, but they're not allowed to say, like pilots aren't allowed to say they saw UFOs. They're starting to be able to, right? But I know some train guys, and they're knowers now. They're not just believers in Bigfoot, they're knowers. They've seen babies and all kinds of stuff, and then had them like jump off the train as they're walking up right in front of them, and it would stop and stare at them and then glow its eyes like lights, red lights in the night. Stand out, jump down, it's not glowing, and then all of a sudden glow. and then shut it off and then run off and freak them out, right? Forever, they're freaking out forever. And I would be too.
That's wild. Okay, actually, I do remember this because Barry Littleton's in the chat. He's a good friend. We do a lot of shows together. Barry said, yes, I did a video over Sasquatch and FTRA, the Freight Riders of America. And now I do remember that, Barry. I remember you talking about that a long time ago. And wow.
And it even goes the other way. Like a few years ago, there was a Bigfoot that ran by a train in Littleton, Colorado. It's like some kind of tourist train, steam engine or something like that. But somebody captured a Bigfoot running by the river, what everybody thought was a Bigfoot. I'm not so sure, but I don't know. I wasn't there. But we aired that on our show and we talked about it and everything. And then we got letters from the county and the state of Colorado that we're not allowed there if we're going to go kill, like if we're going to go kill a Bigfoot, you know. Like, I don't know where they got that we were going to go kill one over there, that one that everybody saw, but they thought we were going to do that. When I don't even believe you can kill one. Like, you would have to, I don't even think that you could make a plan to go kill a Bigfoot and follow that plan through, right? I mean, that would be almost nearly impossible. So I don't even know where they got that, but I wasn't allowed, or me and my little team were not allowed in Littleton, Colorado, or Colorado Springs, or wherever that train was. We're not allowed, right? If we go there, we'll get arrested for attempted, murder of a Sasquatch or something.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
That's not funny. I'm sorry. I'm not, I mean, that's just, it's kind of absurd, but I feel bad laughing at that, but I'm laughing with you.
But it is funny. It is like, who are these?
Criminal.
Guys are
you got banned. You got straight up banned out of that town. Don't come back.
Even been to Colorado yet.
Yeah. Well, at least they're protecting their Sasquatches. Or as Brown Dwarf says, actually, Brown Dwarf has changed his name to, what is your name tonight, Brown? Bigfoot Dwarf.
Bigfoot Dwarf. Yeah. I saw that. Cool.
And he called these Bigfoots hobo Squatch. That's what he called it.
That's not the first time I heard of hobo Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
Bigfoot. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We have a lot of fun over here. Okay. And I'm having a lot of fun. That's why I keep a smile on my face. Kent was talking about how I smile and everything. It's because this is so fun. This is so fun getting to talk about this stuff. And I'm learning. I had forgotten that Bigfoots have been seen on trains, hopping trains, and now you've got your encounter stories. And I mean, this is wild. This is just wild. So they do utilize public transportation.
And they in my area, they use canals, rivers, and creeks to travel through populated areas. They'll run right through a city that has a river, and they'll be using that as a thoroughfare probably for years, and maybe be seen by people, but nobody knows who to report it to. And then when you get known for it, that's when people start looking you up, and there'll be somebody that lives, say, on the outskirts of town from the south, and the river comes in from the south and then cruises and leaves the north, right? And say the town is 7 miles wide. Well, you'll get a couple of calls on one side of the river, and then all of a sudden you'll get a sighting on the other side of town, whereas people are over there that live along the river seeing them. And you're going, wait a minute, they're on both sides of the town. Then all of a sudden you start to get sightings, or the news will play, somebody saw a Bigfoot in the park, and you realize they're in the river bottom and they're running through there all the time, and maybe only got seen a half a dozen times. Over how many years, though, that about? Like, how many people actually saw it and don't know who to talk to? Or say, they'll think I'm crazy if I say that.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, a lot of people do get called crazy for reporting things like that, especially in cities. Bigfoots are supposed to be out in the national parks and in the forest. They're not supposed to be in town. And I've been hearing more and more reports of them being in the cities. And Sovereign Cosmic Wildman says Sasquatches do wear head wraps. No joke. I've
heard of
actually, well, in that video of Patty, the Patterson Gimlin film, it looks like Patty actually has a braid in her hair. MK Davis has done some extensive research on that video. And
that would explain why Todd Standings looks so weird in the face, like they might be wearing a skin of a different animal, like a bobcat or something, on their face, like a mask. And that's why the face looks so weird, because they might be wearing a mask. Because I've heard of them wearing clothes, articles of clothing. People have seen them and they're wearing somebody's shirt or something. It's weird. I never heard of them wearing a hat though, but the Indians talk about them wearing skins and masks and all kinds of stuff. It's interesting.
Yeah, who was I talking to the other day? We were talking about Bigfoot wearing, I guess it was Barry. Barry's in the chat. Talking about Bigfoots wearing masks and the white, like a white man, almost like I've seen videos where they look like they're wearing like a white mask or something. It's really odd.
Yeah, skins. That's what the Indians, the Native Americans, I shouldn't call them Indians, even though I am one. My wife is one, but I don't want to make everybody mad. So the Native Americans, they say they will dress. They have dress. Yeah. It's interesting. That means they're even more than what we think, right? Even more.
Yes. Well, and in that same Patty video, MK was looking at it. I know my cousin Jesse is an artist, and he has actually talked with MK quite a bit. And we were all three together actually at the East Alabama Bigfoot Town Hall last year. MK, my cousin Jesse, and myself. And my cousin Jesse actually made this gigantic Bigfoot out of muscadine vines, and he sculpted the face and the hands and the feet out of clay. I think it's clay, and it's in front of the Georgia Bigfoot, the Expedition Bigfoot Museum in Georgia. They have that it's like a 10-foot tall Bigfoot that's in front of their museum, and my cousin made that. But he's really he actually works at the High Museum of Art in Atlanta, and he does art. He handles the artwork and stuff there now too. But he's an amazing artist, and he's spent a lot of time his specialty are Bigfoot art, and he makes them to scale, like to size, and makes sculptures. And he's really done a lot of studying of Patty, and he's consulted with MK Davis on his art a lot. And according to Jesse, it looks as though Patty has a satchel. Not only a braid in her hair, but also she might have had like a bag, like an over-the-shoulder bag, crossbody, and there's something in it. Maybe even there could have even been a baby in it or something. Maybe
could have been one of them little worm babies. No,
worm baby. It was a worm baby. Probably the worm baby could have fit in there. But yeah, it's just interesting. The more that video is analyzed, the more stuff they're finding in it. It's just
it's only like only a minute. Like we interviewed it was a long time ago. What's the guy? The guy's name is Bill Munn. I think I have that one on my YouTube channel too. This interview with Bill Munn, and what he did was he made like the creature of the Black Lagoon. He made that costume, and he did like werewolf costumes and all the Hollywood costumes. And we talked to him. He had got the original film, the Patterson film, and had it fixed up. And then he looked at it, like he knows all the film people. So he had this stuff really fixed up and looked at it. And I think he even wrote a book about it. But he was like saying back in that time, 1968, 69, 67, all in there, they couldn't make that kind of costume. Like it would cost, if they could, it would cost you $1 million if they could, right? And they're saying that couldn't even be made at that time. And that's an interesting guy. You might look him up and see what he says on that. I mean, if you're going to say anybody's an expert on anything, he's an expert on costumes, especially like werewolves and monsters and all that. in the day whenever that film was released. It's very interesting.
Yeah, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of research, revolves around that film, and it's great that there's still people really looking into that film and into Patty. And I was given that as a remote viewing target, Patty at the at Bluff Creek, and it was actually quite sad. The story behind what I think really happened to her. It's really sad. So,
Yeah, I heard about that. Like, I think it was, I can't remember her name, but she wrote a book about it where there was actually some kind of massacre or something, you know.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. MK actually, his lectures and his presentations, he shows the full video, and
Oh, wow.
there's actually two videos. He has both of the original videos, um, and he has a copy of the original video that he took himself from the wife of one of the gentlemen that took it, and
Wow.
and it shows leading up to Patty's video. There's another video of it looks like a juvenile, it's a big Bigfoot, but they assume that was probably her child, one of her kids. And yeah, it's fascinating. If you ever get a chance to see any of NK Davis's presentations, please do, y'all. Um,
I never talked to him before.
yeah,
But I have him on Facebook and I watch all his videos. I mean, he knows what he's talking about.
he
Another
does.
NASA guy that works with videos, and photography. I don't know if he was NASA, but he does it really well.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you see MK's presentation, he makes a good argument for there have been some I call it critter control. Unfortunately, that's what I call it. Okay, and because I don't know what else to call it, but it was pretty rough. So, but yeah, we're not trying to be Debbie Downers over here tonight, talking about the sad stuff, because there's a lot of good stuff too. And honestly, like that video set the precedent for there being real Bigfoots in this world. Okay, that was from what I know. That's the only video that ever existed that was public of a Bigfoot
Yeah.
for decades.
Well, it's something about the Bigfoot community. Like now, people are quick to judge people and things, like videos and stuff like that, or TV shows, And at first, everybody thought finding Bigfoot was really cool, but nowadays, everybody's bashing finding Bigfoot. Some corny, they never found Bigfoot. Those guys, if that show wasn't on, that was before this thing was mainstream. They brought it to where we are today. If it wasn't for them, we would still be making fun of people that saw Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Even though we still do, but there would not be a million podcasts, and there would not be, and everybody wouldn't be looking for it, and it wouldn't be the most popular collectible stuff in the world, right? Like,
Right.
finding Bigfoot did that. No matter how corny it was, those guys brought it to the mainstream. And without them,
Right.
it wouldn't be anywhere. It wouldn't be anywhere.
That's right. Well, you're a trailblazer, Alan, and thanks to you, you did blaze the trail for the rest of us. You really did, to be able to come out here and talk about stuff like this, and to have the courage, like for people like me to have the courage to come out and speak publicly about it. Because honestly, I never had really watched podcasts. I didn't even know what a podcast was when I started doing my own podcast. Okay.
Us either.
I didn't know.
We didn't either. And we were investing, everybody told us, oh man, you got to have that $5,000 camera and you have to have an audio board and all the $500 microphones and stuff. And we're like going broke buying all this stuff and, accumulating. And now you got to buy $1,000 cell phone, or whatever, and a little $80, $100 microphone to put on it. And then you're golden. You could do it. Anybody could be one now. Anybody. And you could look like you bought $5,000 of equipment like I originally did in the beginning.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, or you could just broadcast from your cell phone, like some of us do sometimes. Depends. Yeah.
And I was going to hold my camera and put it in front of the screen, right? Like,
Yeah.
check, you guys, like, no, you can't see it. Even if I turn it around, you can't see it. Oh, well.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Oh
know. That
yeah.
was a dorky idea.
Oh man. You know what? I don't know. I mean, I may not have all the equipment and stuff, but it doesn't matter. Don't let people like, I'm not trying to like give a bunch of advice on podcasting tonight or anything, but don't let that stop you guys. Okay. If anybody wants to do like YouTube channels or like start your own channel or do whatever you want to put out content, don't let not having expensive equipment stop you not having it.
Right.
Because I don't have expensive equipment. You guys can tell. I'm sure y'all can tell.
A little bit. You like as you go. Like when you first start out, you don't have an extra mic. You just have the phone.
That's right.
But then as you go along, one day you spend the money on a mic, and then or you buy wireless mics or something. But I mean, as you're going along, and if you get popular on YouTube, you might be able to monetize. You're not going to get rich.
That's right.
You will not get rich. Okay.
Well,
I think the most I ever made was I made like $800 a month before they started slamming me.
You can make some money on YouTube, y'all. You can.
But only they make you have to play so by the rules though.
You do.
If you're doing,
don't let it stop you.
If you're doing these topics, you never know when that topic is going to be taboo. And you could have already done 10 shows on it, and then all of a sudden you're slammed, because they decide that's not cool anymore. You said the wrong word later.
Yes, so but don't let that stop you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, it's I try not to let anything stop me. I get a lot of obstacles thrown in my way, and you just keep on going. Okay. Just keep on going because I just want to get the word out and share stuff and just have fun. Don't let anybody rain on your parade.
Right on sending it to Rumble. That's what I'm.
Yeah, that's the secret.
Rumble's starting to get as popular as YouTube. Not quite as, but it's getting there. Especially in this genre of information. The Bigfoots and the political and everything where you can't talk about it here on YouTube. That's really getting popular on Rumble.
Oh yeah.
I keep on looking I should be looking at my camera like I'm looking at you guys, but I keep on looking over at my computer monitor. But if I looked all the way over, I can't look at the chat. It's too far.
It's a balancing act over here. It's so much to look at. It's kind of like chat, videos, audio. I'm checking everything all the time. This is so great. It's fun. So don't worry about it. If you're not, I used to have people that would complain. They're like, you're not looking at your guest enough and you're looking at the chat. I'm like, I'm trying to balance here, people. Okay. Trying to balance.
Since we're like talking about people podcasting,
why don't you come over here and do it?
One of the things, if you're going to podcast with your phone, look at the camera when you talk. Like I'm looking at you right now. I'm looking at the camera. Don't look at yourself talking. Don't get in the habit of it where you're talking over here like this and you're looking at yourself, but you're acting like you're talking to me, but you're looking over here. Okay. Yeah, remember, be addressing me over here or whoever.
Oh my gosh.
Looking at that one. Try to fight the urge to look at yourself because you're not talking to yourself, right? You're talking to you. I'm talking to you.
Yes.
And that's what I'm looking at. But I'm not going to ignore you. I'm going to look around and do things. But when I'm talking, I'm going to be really directing everything to you.
Yes.
And so if you do podcasting, fight the urge to look at yourself. Yeah, I watch these people, they've been doing it for 3 years and they only look at themselves and you could tell they're being able to animate. And they're doing all this really cool stuff because they're watching themselves. And then, like some of them I know, and I tell them, hey, dude, quit looking at yourself, right? Like you're talking to me, or you're supposed to be talking to me. And then, but then whenever they start looking at the camera, all of a sudden they're all really monotone because they're not seeing themselves animate and they don't know when to do it because they're not looking at themselves. So you got to learn to do it without looking at yourself, right? I mean,
Nelisha says, what if you looked at each other like the Brady Bunch? I'm just going to poke you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna poke you. I'm gonna
Yeah,
poke your eye.
Alice.
Wait,
That's a
it's
good one.
backwards, right?
Good one.
It's too funny. Oh my gosh. I just want to thank Cat Chaser for that super sticker. Thank you so much. You have the equipment, Jessica. Yes, I have equipment.
It
I got
does. It
equipment.
sounds
I
great.
got some equipment. I'm here. I'm here. Y'all, if y'all can see me and hear me, we're doing good. Okay. We're doing great tonight. But man, yeah, this has been such a fun show tonight. Again, Alan. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for thinking of me. I'll come
Of
on.
course. Oh my gosh, my audience was like, I had people that were like, please bring Alan back on. People were like hitting me up after the show, and it was
Well, I
great.
love you guys. I love you guys. I
Of
really
course.
do. Honest.
I have the best chat and the best audience on the internet, hands down. I say that every single show, and it's true. And it's true. And people, everybody in this chat will agree with me. I'm pretty sure. Okay. And I know
They're
y'all got,
supporting you
everybody's
pretty
got good
good.
chats.
I love it. I haven't seen any bad ones. I only see what you put up though, because
Yeah.
I'm looking at you and I can see like another. I don't have my glasses, so I'm not able to read that so good. But even though it's a big screen, I still can't read it. Sucks. It says yes, another something.
Oh yeah, another amazing show. Thank you, Jane. Chiro Sounds. Yes, it's
Hero sound. Oh, I see.
Chiro Sounds. Yes, yeah. Yeah.
I like that you got the wrench on a lot of people.
I do.
I
Those
made
are
a
my
rule
moderators.
when I first started doing internet, and it was before there was like there was trolls, but everybody was pretty supportive. So everybody if they were supportive and they talked good, I gave everybody that joined me a wrench. So I have like 8,000 something subscribers with wrenches. And if anybody did get out of line in my chat, there was like a race for these guys to hammer them. It was fun to watch. Only it's got away from me now. I haven't really gave any wrenches out, but I got about 8,000 moderators, right now. It's pretty cool. And I found I don't have to worry about the comments. They take care of it for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My moderators do a great job of catching things before it gets crazy. Okay. And but we don't have too many disruptors over here these days. And we used to, but we don't anymore. The Cryptid Huntress don't play. All right.
Yeah.
The Cryptid Huntress, my mod squad don't play over here.
I think a lot of them, when they come on, they're actually paid. When you start having ones that come on and start really throwing the hate around, I think they're actually paid to do that. And they're actually trying to hurt you or cause you to give up. It's like, man, this is so bad. I can't handle this negative. And you know what? And you do less and less and less, and then you give up because you think there's all this hate. But really, it's one guy that's getting a paycheck and he doesn't really care, and he does it to 15 other people, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think happens. I really think that.
Oh, no. Or there's people that have like 10 or more accounts, and you get one of them, they come in and make bad comments, and then they're on another account. So a lot of times if it's like a lot of people attacking in a chat, it's usually like one person with a bunch of accounts. Take note, y'all. That's happened to us on this channel before. So
and they're probably paid. They're probably paid.
Well,
and when you go on there, they have no content, right? They don't have not one video on there. And it says, oh, they just created this thing 8 days ago or something like that,
Yes.
It's like,
oh my God.
Where did he come from?
Well, we don't get that anymore. We just have a lot of fun over here. And we're just, as long as we're just talking about Bigfoot, and usually the vibration gets too high to where we don't attract the hate and all that kind of stuff. So
that's so cool.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, Alan, tell everybody where they can find you in your channel over at Squatch Zone. And if there's anything else you want to share with the audience tonight.
You can find me at Squatch Zone. Yeah. And I don't have a set schedule. I don't have a job. I don't want a job. But only I'm regular. I come on regular. Recently, even more. Now that I decided that, because I wasn't going to let the powers that be win, because I felt like it wasn't worth it if I could only get out of 8,000 people, I can only get 20 views or something. You know what I mean? Like, you have 8,000 subscribers, you only get 20 views, something's wrong.
True.
Not when I have over 1 million something views. It's like, how did this happen? I decided, you know what? Who cares? I'm just going to come on, and I got a microphone, a wireless microphone that I can just clip on and plug it into my phone, and I have this little. I was going to show you again. I can't show you, but a little bitty tripod thing, a Manfrotto tripod, and I put my phone on there, and then I just take off, and I can go anywhere, cell signal. I could go, and I mostly go live, and I talk about anything. And you can change my subject just by asking me a question. If you don't like what I'm talking about, ask me a question. There you go. Talk about anything, really. I've been all around this paranormal world, and went down a lot of rabbit holes, and I know how far to go before it's like it's stupid to go any further. Because I went stupid to go any further too many times. So I've been there too on that rabbit hole. But you can talk about anything, though, nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've talked for 3 hours tonight. It's like 3 hours. Wait, 10, 11, 12, 1, 3 hours. I know. I'm sorry to keep you guys here for 3 hours tonight, but we've had a really good time, y'all. And
that blows me away. I thought it was like an hour and a half or something.
That is so wild. I know. It's just the time really does fly, and I wasn't really paying attention to time tonight. So time is but an illusion. But my goodness, y'all. What a wonderful show. Thank you guys so much for everybody who stuck with us the entire show. You guys are troopers. Man, y'all are the real troopers.
I want to say thank you guys for showing up. And I want to say a prayer for everybody. Is it okay if I say a prayer? And here I'm looking at the TV screen. Is it okay if I say a prayer?
Yes, of course.
I pray, and everyone accept this. Even it doesn't have to be live. It could be recorded. You could just hear this 2 years from now. I pray abundance in your life. I pray abundance in your relationships. I pray abundance in your health. I pray abundance in your finances. I pray abundance in every area of your life. In Jesus' name. Love you guys. There you
Amen. Go. Amen. I love that. You're the best, Alan. You're the OG, right? The OG. I saw a couple people write that tonight. The OG.
Kind of cool. I never heard of it. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I think Sovereign said the original Gugway.
I remember that one. I haven't heard from that one in a while. That's been a while since I heard of the Gugway.
Look at this. I know. We should talk about the Gugway. Come back on sometime. We'll talk about Gugway and Genosquas and all the violent and crazy Sasquatches out there and Dogman. We should do that too sometime. I would love that.
That's the scary ones. And they're more like where you live. From what I understand, deep south, Louisiana, all over there, and maybe Michigan.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. We've you never know what's out there. So everybody, please keep your head on a swivel. Stay safe out there. Thank you guys so much. All you guys who stuck around for the full 3 hours tonight. Thank you guys for being troopers. And please go to Squatch Zone, and you guys please subscribe to Alan's channel. Show the love, show the support. And y'all, please come back and see me on Monday. We'll be back here live at 1 p.m. Eastern. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. It's a crazy world out there. Please stay safe, y'all. Please stay safe. And don't live in fear, everybody. Right, Alan?
Right.
No fear.
See you guys soon.
All right, Alan. Have a wonderful night. Thank you again for being here. You're the best. Okay. All right, everybody. Everybody have a great night, and I'll see y'all on Monday. All right. Bye, everybody.